there's a group of people who really want to understand deep into the minds of the influencers that lead the space, and I've been able to bring them here, live in Las Vegas. So let's start off with, on my right-hand side, we got Rob Bailey in the building. And I think what's really cool about Rob is like he's the OG in the space when it comes down to why we all are here. And he gave Sean and Varun, if you know the story, we'll kind of touch on it. He gave them an opportunity to speak, and I think you're affiliate 001.
Yeah.
The first affiliate.
Yes.
And HighLevel has grown because of the affiliate program. So everyone is a child of Rob, pretty much.
Everyone's grandpa.
Yeah, Rob is everyone's grandpa.
Yep.
And then we got Tim Sabir in the building, master affiliate over here. And specifically, he leads SaaS Arabic. And where are you coming in from, Tim?
North Carolina.
North Carolina in the building in Las Vegas. Then we have Caitlyn Portillo, the one behind the most complex build-outs inside of HighLevel in the building, coming from El Salvador. And she's someone who not only helps HighLevel agencies, but when it comes down to the complexities of utilizing the technology, she's behind some of the most powerful campaigns inside of her company. Then we have Gary Capps in the building. Gary, Mr. Thunder from Down Under, from Australia, live in the flesh, came in this morning from Australia to be here. So we do not take this lightly of the guests that we have in the studio today. Gary runs My CRM Sim, the SMS solution for people to be able to send out text messages and iMessages from the HighLevel platform. Gary is the one behind that. So all these businesses that are sending out text messages in the platform and they're from outside of the country, blame Gary for that. Then we have, sorry, mate. And then we have Matt Decino, OG in the space. Matt Decino runs.
Rob's.
Yes.
Is it really? Oh, what? Man.
One of your accounts is. The other one is nowhere to be found. Sorry.
Matt came into HighLevel 2019. And the reason that we have a funnel builder in HighLevel is because of Matt Decino. And we can tap into that story. But he helps thousands of HighLevel agencies implement HighLevel, and he supports them inside of their business. Then we have Casey Hamilton from Exact Match Marketing. And now when it comes out to getting data into HighLevel leads, contacts, Casey is the man behind the scene with the plan of helping agencies get lead data. So I'm super excited to do this. And my name is Andy Audate. I run GHL Engine, and we are a coaching and support company, and we help you grow with HighLevel. Now, what I'm super excited for this is bringing everyone together, because I've had personal one-on-one conversations with everyone in the audience, every one of these guests here. But most importantly, I've never brought them to a table like this before. And I've asked them to be vulnerable and share what are their thoughts on what's happening in the world of marketing today. What are the challenges that they're seeing, and what's the reality in creating a successful business and a successful agency? There are some of the things that I've heard privately that in those private conversations, I'm like, man, some other people should hear that, but we kept it private. And I've asked them to be vulnerable and share with them, audience, share with you, what is going on in their mind. What's challenging, what's taking place with AI? You log into YouTube University today, at any point, you're starting to see Claude and ChatGPT and then HighLevel assembled on top of the platform, and it's creating confusion in the marketplace. Then you hear about people who are SaaSpreneurs, never sold a SaaS account, teaching other people how to sell SaaS. Then you have coaches who are telling you to start a marketing agency like it's 2011 and Ty Lopez is on the TV. But right now, Ty Lopez has a conversation with the SEC, but let's not get into that right now.
Oh, here we go. Controversy. You like that? Let's go.
Why I wanted to bring this here is to share with you what's truly taking place in the space. So this is a safe space for people to be vulnerable, to be real, and for you, the viewer, if you're watching this live, to be able to ask your questions. I got my laptop here in front of me, and I'm going to be answering your questions and bringing up some of the challenges that you're addressing inside of your agency. But to get started, I want everyone to start sharing about your background. I got a chance to introduce every single one of you. Tell us, how did you get started in the HighLevel ecosystem? Whoever, just unmute yourself, and I'm over here talking like I'm on a webinar. just share, how did you get started in HighLevel?
Should we do ladies first?
Of course, ladies first.
Thanks, guys. I wasn't planning on that, but we'll roll with it. So, Caitlyn Portillo here. I got started when HighLevel first came out, and I started it because I
Caitlyn.
I gotta be closer.
And that's for everyone. You got to move closer to the mic,
Yep.
so that way we can hear you.
All right. We'll start this again. So what I did was I was diversifying what I was doing in businesses and startups because I had left the music industry. That was very fun. I had a lot of years in that. I got signed when I was 8. I quit at around 22. I walked away with a couple gold and platinum records. Coolest experience of my life. Didn't want to be in Hollywood as a mother. Didn't want to continue doing anything that had to do with the entertainment industry. I personally didn't feel it was a very safe or pleasant industry, and I also knew I wanted to be a mom. So it was out. That was it. So at 22, I left, went and got my real estate license, then got my broker license, dove into real estate, learned about housing, started investing in real estate, started investing in CBD and marijuana, created a skincare line, sold that, exited out, and said, what are we going to do next? Tech and AI started to blow up. Mm-hmm. That was when I was like, what am I going to do? My identity, what am I worth, right? And that's when I got into HighLevel. And that was like, and Andy and I have spoke about, before HighLevel, I was messing around with Jobber and other softwares because I owned several startups. One was a construction company, one was a cleaning company. Then I had a bunch of Airbnbs in Colorado outside of Denver. And I was like, how do I automate all of these? And HighLevel was not a thing yet. Then I met my husband, and Andy and I joked about this. I had no idea I married a genius coder guy. He was just a military, awesome military, really attractive in a uniform man, right? And then we got married, and I find out he's a genius coder programmer. And that's when we dove into HighLevel. Very quickly on, we were like, oh, we're just going to do custom builds. This whole sub-account support thing, that's not our deal. That is just not what we want to do. We learned that in the first 24 months. I'm really happy because we ended up not being super miserable. You know, we stayed the heck in our lane. And that's what I think why we've had so much success with HighLevel is I stayed authentic to myself. And then once I felt that we had built a really good team, I wanted to go back to being a mom and a woman and doing all sorts of girly things. And the last 24 months, I've been able to finally do that. Spend more time with my kids. I go do girly stuff. I go on trips more. I buy and sell Hermes vintage bags, and I have so much fun. And I talk about this a lot because I think, and I'll conclude it here, a lot of us, and all of you guys know this, there have been times where it was 18-hour days, and your spouse was by your side trying to hold you up and figure it out. And that was awesome, and it was worth it. But I'm finally enjoying life now at 37, and it's all thanks to HighLevel. But it was a journey, you know? Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that's it.
That's a question I want to pose to the group, and as you all speak, you can share who you are and what you're up to if you haven't yet. But is the 80-hour weeks realistic? And is it necessary? And is it part of the journey? Because I mean, think about this. We all may have heard the book, The 4-Hour Workweek. Yeah. So you read Tim Ferriss's book, The 4-Hour Workweek. You're working 40 hours at your job, and you're like, oh, okay, let me watch some YouTube videos. And then let me read the book, 40-Hour Workweek. And like, oh, you know what? I'm going to become an entrepreneur. And then you come in and you're talking about 80-hour weeks, 90-hour weeks. Is that the realistic journey? Did you have to do work 80-hour weeks? Did you?
In my first agency, I did. And it, like, my business partner and I got burned out super fast. I mean, 3 years, I don't know if that sounds long or short to people, but to me, it felt like it was 30 years, right? I'm talking about like we needed money, so we would just take on a custom project, try to turn a website around in 72 hours to get the bag.
Put your hands up if you've done that.
Yeah.
If you had to take on a custom project, everyone's hands went up. Yeah. Taking on a custom project is for money, right?
And to be honest, not much had changed from month 1 to month 36 in that process, because we were working a broken model, which I'm sure we'll get into. But basically, like I would come in some mornings and my business partner would be sleeping on a pizza box with a empty beer cans. I'm like, did you stay here all night? And he was younger than me. He was in his 20s at the time. He's like, yeah. I mean, we had to pull an all-nighter, man. And I'm like, well, now you're cashed all day, dude. Like, So, I mean, I think it's two things. Like, you have to build a skill, and usually you have to log a certain amount of hours or reps in a skill to get good at it. Like, let's just say sales or coding or something, right? You have to build proficiency. But if you're working a model that's just like a black hole, there's very little that you can do to stop that train from just getting worse and worse and worse. So to me, it's always like a function of taking a step back and going, okay, if I'm just doing custom builds and just doing done for you work, or I'm selling my time, there's a natural cap to that. And for some people, it might be 5 years. Some people, it might be 15. But burnout will happen. That's my view on it.
Are you saying that that is the journey for everyone?
No, I'm saying that. So the skill building part can take 3 decades if you want, if you go slow. If you can get the amount of reps in to get good at something and proficient at something, that's different for everybody. But there's a minimum amount of inputs that you need to work a different model to get the kind of freedom Caitlyn just described in her life, right? Like, so I don't know how it was for you. Maybe your husband was super proficient already, but if you're coming in thinking that you'll start green and you don't have any skills that apply directly to the marketplace, you're going to have to put some time into it to get good at it. That's the reality, right? That's what I'm saying.
Is the 80-hour work week realistic and part of the journey? Let's start on this side. Is that realistic and part of the journey? Is it a must?
Can I just succinctly answer? I think it can be for a short period of time, but that's not a recipe for longevity. That's probably the best way to say it. Does that make sense?
Where do you guys stand?
I don't know if it's a must. I don't know anyone who's been successful that hasn't put that time in at the start. Like, I just don't know anyone like I did. Because you've got to get to that point as well where, like, I know Caitlyn now as well, is like she's got all that going on and she's got freedom, but she's also built a team behind her. And that's the thing you need to do is you've got to build the skills, build the reps for yourself. Then you've got to pass those skills on to a team and then have them be proficient so that they can manage stuff for you, and then you can step away from those things. Because at the start, you're kind of doing all these things and you don't even know how to do them. Like, you've got to do sales, you've got to do marketing, you've got to do some tech, you've got to hire, you've got to train people. Like, if you haven't done that before, that just takes a lot of time, and that's what makes your 8-hour work week to start with. But you've got to aim to step out of that. Once you've got the reps in, step out of it. So I don't know anyone that hasn't put in a lot of hours to build something successful. And I think generally prepare for that and understand that. And if you are doing that, then just go, yeah, this is part of the journey. That's not a bad thing, but have an endpoint in mind as well. Make sure that you want to stop that at some point, because you don't want that to be there forever.
Where do you gentlemen stand?
I think realistically, anything that's created that's exceptional took a huge amount of effort. I do think I have the perspective now that time is the most limited understanding. It's the most low leverage effort that you have. So I actually think the reality is it takes a lot of effort to create anything exceptional, whatever that is. So if you're working a job, you're like, I would love to be in the position where I've got a team around me, they're creating value, people thank me after they've paid for my stuff and I spend time with my kids. That sounds exceptional, extraordinary, totally not common space. It takes a ton of effort to get there. For most of us in that journey, the fundamental understanding of effort is time. So that is a very real common thread. As you start off, you're like, it's 80 hours because how can I exert more effort? It's 80 hours. I think the reality behind it, the more that I've done it, is there are different forms of leverage to have that output of effort. You look at folks that have, it's still initially some time, but they've invested time into certain skills that have greater effort as they keep going, and certain skills that have just a linear output. Like to Rob's example, put in a ton of time, but he was like day 1 or month 1 versus month 36 felt like the same exchange. He said the model's broken. It was really just that. It's like the vehicle of effort was broken. I talked to Nuno, good buddy, and he left corporate America. I told him, just if you focus on anything, YouTube. Keep serving, but keep on YouTube. Now he's at 50,000 subscribers, and he would say he's doing the same thing that he's doing on day 1 has a completely different output on month 1 to month 36 because the vehicle was fundamentally different. So the same, even now he's putting in like less time, but it's because the vehicle of effort compounded there. So I think there's no way around the effort. I think for most of us, as we start off, the easiest understanding is time is the vehicle for my effort. I also think it's a really great skill to develop in yourself is to do something uncomfortable for a prolonged period of time to generate that result, that sort of like delayed gratification there. And I think if you can break through that, it will continue to serve you in many ways. And I'd actually think I've seen full circle of now I put in unnecessary amounts of effort, even in time, to be the kind of leader that my team wants to follow. I get DMs every single week with folks that are like, hey, I'm over here, but I just feel like you're hungrier. You're building something, and I want to be behind that. And so I'm like, yeah, my journey was I put in the tons, the crazy hours. Like it was absolutely you trade the 40 hours for the 80 hours that's worth less. But I think what it built is the skill to be able to do it. It's like if I need to, I can. And I've come back to that where I'm like, I still find ways in high leverage and low leverage ways, because then at this point, I don't think of it as like I'm building, like the output isn't the output of the work. The output is myself and the character and the person that I'm becoming. And that's why I'm still willing to put in the time and a ton of effort there.
Let me ask you this then. If you were to start a new venture today, would you still need to spend 80 hours today?
I don't, because I've graduated into, there's other forms of high amounts of effort there.
So does that mean then that the person who puts in 80 hours of work in a week, because what you're saying is that, like, would you, if you had to start a new venture today, would you put 80 hours in today?
Absolutely freaking not. No.
Okay, so you wouldn't. Gary, would you put 80 hours, if you start a new venture today, would you put in 80 hours away from your children to go ahead and grind in a new venture?
No, I wouldn't. But then it depends on what the position is that you're
Because
in as well, like where you are financially and stuff, where you've got to grind. And I think that 80 hours, it depends on where you are too, because you can spend 80 hours when you're new at something, like you're inefficient. Like you don't know what you're doing. Right. So you're going to spend 80 hours being kind of inefficient because you're working stuff out. You could still spend 80 hours in a new venture if you wanted to, when you know what you're doing, if you're efficient, and you could get the job done maybe faster.
Yeah, but what I'm hearing is you don't know what you don't know. The 80 hours creates a knowledge to identify what you don't know. Because if you're like, hey, I wouldn't do it again, because you now know something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, like it's clear like experience matters, right? It's in every field I can think of, maybe except for the AI doing the AI. It's just like, but like, you know, what Gary's talking about, I think, is like you can't outwork a bad model. And where most people get stuck is they stay too long in the bad model, meaning my energy output is not creating any sort of compounding or long-term benefit. So it's all just downside, basically. You're just like, okay, so I know how to make a WordPress website. I made hundreds of them, let's just call it. And I know how to sell them now, but you know, I'm not getting what I want out of my business. Why is that? That's the thing that I see that's way more common than people's, like most entrepreneurs are not couch potatoes. They're go-getters, you know, just by the nature of their personality.
But piggybacking on the 80 hours though, because that is, I think, it's not a sensitive topic. It's a realistic issue that's taking place today. And Caitlyn went through it, and you went through it, and you went through it. But if you're saying,
why is it an issue? So this is, I think I took the question as, and maybe if you ask me, would I spend 80 hours? I do spend 80 hours. The cycle that I live through is I continuously buy back my time and I reinvest my time in the things that I enjoy and that have like the highest amount of output.
The 80 hours for him looks different than they did 5 years ago.
For sure, but I'm still putting in the time.
Yeah,
you know
it's more enjoyable.
Like, why
80
are you
hours.
doing that?
It's still
Why?
hours
But
of what he wants to do.
The question was, if you start a new venture today, would you work 80 hours?
If I had to, yeah. If I was gonna be, I mean, I'm spending how many hours finishing my doctorate right now? Willingly, gladly. You know, like I'm gonna leave here and go do homework for an hour before the barbecue. You know, so yes, I would, because I know that when I finish my doctorate and I get to be a professor and live out all the dreams I want to do, right? Because that's what I'm doing, because I can. We all can.
Caitlyn, drop
so
the mic.
Like, I would put that 80 hours in, but it would look more like his fun 80 hours, not like the miserable 80 hours 5-10 years ago, right?
What's the difference between?
I'll give you an example of a miserable 80 hours for me, and this is in the last year. It wasn't quite 80. So one reason why I wouldn't do 80 is because I've learned that it's all arbitrary. Instead of 80, I put 36 hours. And it was YouTube. I realized I had not prioritized YouTube, and this was like last June. I came out of it. I was putting 36 hours a week creating content, like standing in front of a camera, recording videos to just produce an insane amount. That's 36 hours and still have the other company, and I was prioritized focus time in front of the camera showing up. Why 36 hours? Why not 80? Because I realized it's all arbitrary, and I was like, I wanted to produce as much as possible. So I pass this to the team all the time, is you can become an incredible artist, right? Like you can take 2 months to create a painting, but most of the time for the team, I'm like, I want you to be an amazing 5-minute doodleist, like the street artist. And so I want you finishing whatever you can finish in 5 minutes, because I've learned that the difference between 5 minutes of like excellent execution and like a day of artistry, like the average person doesn't notice. And it's actually maybe more impressive to us, the person on the street artist, like who did it in 5 minutes. And it's the relationship to output to time that you want to do. So also put in an insane amount of effort, and that felt heavy. I was publishing a video a day. Was schedule, like I was in multiple. It was an unnecessary amount of volume there, but just to push through the effort of doing it, I picked 36 hours. It wasn't 80, but I still think it's good. If you want to accomplish something extraordinary, you got to put time behind it.
The journey that you went through, Caitlyn, that prompted this 80,
Yep.
that this conversation of 80 today, because the way you speak of it is as if it's this negative, miserable, experiential thing.
It was a little. Yeah.
It was. Rob, the way you speak of your 80 in your scenario is like, no, I'm not going to do that again.
It was awful.
It was awful. So my question to you is, could you have passed that time with buying that knowledge? Could you have bought a course to speed up the process? Could you have hired mentors to get access to skip the journey of 80? Could you have hired somebody else? Like, at what point? Because where does Tim Ferriss get this idea of 4-hour work week if the reality is 80?
So I did hire mentors. I spent crazy fucking money.
Okay, and what was
and
the
I had
outcome?
them, and it worked. That's why I'm so successful. They would remind me and pull me out of it. That's literally at Kicking SaaS. Shane Helmker, my mentor, my business mentor of 12 years, who spoke at Kicking SaaS this past March. He was the one who every 6 months would be like, "Yep, time to go. We've plateaued. Time to go up. Time to go up." I would be nowhere if I wouldn't have invested in these mentors. I had a couple in my time. 2 gals and then 3 different male mentors, and they kept my ass in line. So that's the truth, though, and I think that's not what people want to talk about. I was working 80 hours and putting $50,000 to $150,000 a year into mentorships, and I still had to work that much. Do you know why? Because those mentors that I hired kept me emotionally okay. They kept me emotionally okay. They didn't just tell me how to run ads or not be a media buyer and stay in my niche. They didn't just do that. They handled my emotional problems. And when back in the day when I wasn't, when I was letting clients walk all over me the first 24 months, I got involved in HighLevel, stuff like that. A business mentor doesn't just come in and do P&Ls and look at your books and tell you how to onboard people. That's not a business mentor. That's like an ops person, okay? So hiring these mentors, it wasn't their job to just, okay, I gave this guy 25 grand or 50K to be my mentor. He's not going to make me work only 36 hours a week because I paid him that money. No, he's going to keep me mentally and emotionally okay. And then he's going to help me hire a good ops person and keep me together. So I was working those 80 hours a week with some of the best mentors in the game. That's the truth.
So that leads me back to the question, is 80 hours necessary then?
No.
If you're buying it back like he is, yeah, because I feel like I'm doing the same thing, and I'm still doing a bunch of stuff now, and but I'm having fun now.
Yeah, I think the 80 hours question, so Tim Ferriss obviously had some level of proficiency. Like, he talked about a supplement company, I think, in the book.
Yeah.
And what he did was he gave his team autonomy. This one thing I remember from the book, and I read it, like 2 decades ago or something. So I'm probably going to botch it. But he said, why do we have so many customer support receipts, right? And so all of his team was spending time on like all these little $12 orders, $50 orders, this way, that way, the other. And so he said, look, if somebody asks for a refund, as long as it's not over $300, just hit the button. Just give it back to them. Make them happy. Maybe send them a little extra product as a thank you, something. Do something to like make their day. So then the support tickets went from like 100 down to 10 or something like that, right? Wow. So I think that's what Matt was trying to get at the essence of. It's like, look, if you want to keep things the way they are, that's probably fine. But he found a better lever for him and his team so that all those hours got freed up to do something better. And I think that's a lot of probably what you're talking about, moving those inefficient inputs into, it's like, I want to do more of the things that I want to do, not the things that I feel like I have to do. And so if he puts 80 hours in, but it's, doing the things that he wants to do instead, that's a win, right? I wouldn't even call that 80 hours. I would say you bought your time back and then you're just playing with the rest of them, reinvesting it.
No, for sure. It was a buying back your time. I think the interesting part of this for folks is whether it's 80 hours, 30 hours, or there's actually no, it's not a requirement. There's a guy, Andy, maybe you've met him, Dustin, in our community, and he's been high level for a couple years, and I'm always super impressed by him. His wife is like a traveling nurse, so they're always like traveling around, and he pretty quickly built up a pretty substantial reselling high level, white level account. And dude is living the 4-hour work week. He was like Tim Ferriss, but like he defined the parameters of like what he was going to do and what he wasn't going to do.
Yeah.
And he has a really interesting strategy. I don't know if it's as effective. I don't think he's ever shared it, so I don't. But he has like I'll pick a different platform. People request for things like, hey, write me an email. And then, so they're requesting jobs over here, and he had like a bunch of these profiles. They're like, hey, I can do it, and it's this much if you want it in like Aweber, and it's half price if you want it in my white label SaaS. So he kind of created his own like affiliate army of like taskers. Super high leverage. And so he's literally like connecting VAs to do the work. And he's like, you can have all the money, but like this is how it works. Living his 4-hour work week, and it's like, and totally a great lifestyle business, optimized on like no team, optimized on outsourcing everything. I'm like, and it's doable. He would not say his journey was like, I put in 80 hours to get there, because he was like, I'm only going to do 5-minute doodles. So what happens is earlier on, like that's what we miss is like, okay, the doodle looks like you spent 5 minutes at it. And so then it was just like, okay, you know, it gets better, but like he's not running a multi-million-dollar business, but he's running a very high lifestyle, like ton of time freedom, great business. And so he gets to do what he loves there. So I think, you know, you start with what are you trying to achieve? And I think I've come full circle for me. It's like right now I'm trying to be the leader who leads a team of 500. Okay, to do that, I got to show up in a different way. That's like Elon Musk. He was a billionaire, still was like putting in all nights when he took over Twitter, right? And it was like, he didn't have to do that, but he actually did have to do that to equip the team around him. So then his vehicle for the next level of accomplishment was people, or at least that was part of it, right? It was tech and people behind it. And so, but people need to understand the effort is just relative to the outcome. And that's where I think there's the frustration lies in missed expectations, because you show up to the, I don't know a nice car brand. Is Ferrari nicer? Or you show up to the Ferrari lot, the Lamborghini, and you're like, and you're priced for like a Honda Fit. And you're frustrated because you're like, wait a second, I have to pay that much to get the Lamborghini? And they're like, yeah, that's the cost. And so if you're out there and you're like, I want to have a $10 million business, yeah, you gotta spend a lot there. And so you can just right size your expectation to the cost.
You know, as you're explaining this, you know, personally, what comes up for me is like the 4-hour work week is under potential, putting you under potential. Because if you can do such massive results, and by the way, if you're loving this content, if you're loving what we're discussing right now, and you have a question, we're gonna answer your question. Be sure to put it in the chat. I'm gonna create a queue here. So far I got you, Kim, and a couple more of you in the chat. So I'm gonna answer your questions, or our group, we're gonna bring up your questions. But be sure to drop your questions, drop a like, and do me a favor. This is the first time that we're doing this type of roundtable. If you're liking this so far, be sure to share it on social media so that way your friends can actually watch this as well live and be able to ask their questions about running their business. Because at this table, we have millions upon millions of dollars in revenue, years upon years of experience, and we could save you a lot of headache in running your business, especially because you're watching this live, you get the chance to actually interact with us. The 4-hour work week, man, though, it's like you're under potential. If you can do $5 million a year in 4 hours a week, if you can do $1 million a year in 4 hours a week, or whatever, $500,000 in 4 hours a week, what could you do in 8? What could you do in 40? And then what could you do?
Well, I think so. My mind immediately goes to more is not better. Like there's a threshold that most people hit with as far as money, where the exchange just doesn't provide the same amount of joy or fulfillment. You know, like they've done studies on this stuff, like this happiness index worldwide and stuff like that, right? So, like for me, after a certain point, I actually don't care about the money anymore, because as long as I know that I have certainty locked in, like that frees me up to actually go and be creative and play with my kids and build a new project or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. But to me, there's two main if I was to strip away all the business stuff, there's two main things, like milestones in my life. I remember, because like I grew up fairly poor, right? Like lower middle class, working family sort of thing. So I still remember the first time I didn't have to really look at the price on just about anything I wanted, mostly like food. Could have bought any car I wanted, and everything was taken care of. Family was taken care of. I was just like, this feels nice, right? And then I remember, Billy Jean was my first mentor, huge influence on helping me break out of that old agency model. And I started a second one that was much more enjoyable, made more money, had more free time, all the things. And I remember we went to this conference in Vegas for this franchisor that we were helping several hundred of those gym locations for. And we sold like, I think it was over $300,000 in like 36 hours.
Amen.
And so I went in and he's like, I got an interview. So we went live and I was proud of it. I was really proud of my team. I was happy it worked out well. Our goal was modest. It was like 50 grand and we like 6x'd it. I think it cost us 25 grand for the booth and about 15 for me to fly them all out and buy all the stuff around it and everything. So I was like, if we break even and we get some clients out of this, I'll be happy, right? So come home, he goes, how's that feel? And I remember it like struck me when he asked me that because it was live and I was like, what am I supposed to say? Wait, how do I actually feel? And the true honest to God's answer was not that much different than yesterday. I swear to God, that's how my true feeling was, right? But that certainty piece for me of having everything locked in and allowing me the freedom to go and do other things, take more risks, whatever it is, that was the thing that I cared about the most. I didn't find out really until that moment that it wasn't really about the money. I cared about the certainty. So I stopped chasing more. Like I could go and have another $300,000, $400,000 a month. I could, but it's like, what am I giving up and sacrifice to do that? Am I missing soccer games? I'm not going to miss my kids' soccer game. I'm not going to miss their birthday. I'm not going to be there for the big moments in their life, right? Just as an example, if you love surfing and you don't want to miss the best swell of the year, freaking great. But you have that optionality without losing the certainty built in. For me, that's my personal take on that whole thing. So can you do more? Yes. But several of these entrepreneurs, including Caitlyn and probably some of you others, have chosen to go like, well, this is a great opportunity to give back, right? So maybe the money thing, you go, okay, I have an overage here and I want to do something cool for people who didn't ask for anything in return, really. And they'll never get, this opportunity from someone else. So maybe I want to go help them do that, right? So maybe that's a good motivator for some people. I know a lot of people whose parents were stuck in a job they hate their whole life and they were just ended up poor and grumpy and all the things. And so they were like, I want to start a business because I don't want to miss my life while I'm making money. That's like super common for people. So like the 4-hour work week, it's like, I think the optionality and the certainty are what those things got Tim Ferriss and that particular nutrition business or whatever it was. But the concept itself is a good one, I think. I think you should be able to enjoy the process no matter what it looks like as you're going through it. Are you going to have to do things that are hard? Are you going to have to persevere through some things and, build proficiency and get good? Yeah, but you're going to have to do that anyway. If you work a job for 30 years you hate, you're going to have to be proficient to keep your job, right? So I would rather have like that relative control over my environment and build that certainty in for myself than trust that the company's not going to call everybody and say, hey, you're done. Sorry, we're laying people off. To me, that's like been my whole frame for entrepreneurship, honestly.
And when I look at it, that 4-hour work week was like starting to become really big as I was growing my agency. Yeah. And I started to see like, oh boy, that could be my goal. Yeah. And that's where I wanted to go, but then I started to see everybody doing that and people were wanting 80-hour work week results with a 4-hour work week ethic, and that was becoming a problem. I was starting to talk to all these agency owners that they weren't willing to really put in the work. They wanted the wealth or they wanted the return that could come, but they weren't putting in the amount of effort that it would take. And it doesn't mean that you have to do 80 hours. Like now I don't. Like I look at my agency, I spend maybe 5 to 10% of my time in my agency, but it's 15, 16 years old. I've got it built to it's systematized. It knows what it's doing. And I can go put my attention into other endeavors that I think are going to move towards the future of where I want to be. And I have other things that are built in the right way. But as I look back at it now, like there were times when I think there's seasonality where you have to put in the effort. You've got to put in the work. You got to put in the time and the reps, because if you don't, you're never going to hit that goal. You can't just go in and think, man, I'm going to, in 3 weeks from now, I'm going to be at a 4-hour work week. Like that may not happen. I tried to build my business because after a while of having my business to start with, I've got 4 kids, and I realized I was spending more time away than I was with them at certain points, and I didn't want to be that dad.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be that husband. I didn't want to be checked out in the midst of that. I wanted to be a man that was attentive to my kids, that they knew that I cared about them, and my wife knew that I was there for her. And even as I'm building out and I have multiple different companies that I'm starting to be involved with, I set boundaries in there now that says, okay, my work time is this time, and when I work, I'm going to work like a madman, and I'm going to get it done, and I'm going to put in systems that keep me from having to do that over and over and over again. And I'm going to work in my zone of genius as much as I can, and I'm going to apply other people that I think have the work ethic, the values, the talent that's going to help to drive the results that I'm actually wanting to get to. And that's coming after, almost 2 decades of being in business now. I can see the business in a much different way than I did when I first started it. And I think that's that thing of entrepreneurism. We want to grow. We're builders in general. So there's going to be that initial time where I think that's going to be a key. And some people, they thrive that way. They can't even operate if they're not working 80 hours a week. Yeah. Like their brain doesn't ever shut off. I wanted to have a lifestyle business that I could spend time with my kids, be a great husband, be a man of faith that's going to serve in my church and serve in my community and do other things outside of business. I didn't want to die one day, and my only thing that I'm known for is my business.
Yeah. Kim in the chat said, to be honest, I'm never spending enough time to be successful. I'm not spending enough time. I'm not doing enough. Now, Tim, what came up for you about the idea of creating content, spending 36 hours a week creating content?
I think, first of all, thank you so much for this idea.
Agreed.
I start knowing people that I know them for years, but in a real way, because when we hang out outside, we just talk about different way. Like, I love you guys. I see myself in you. Regarding creating content, I also remember this guy's, the way he put it. I don't remember. I'm not going to say it the way he said it, but from my mother, like, I think it's our legacy, what we put. Like, nobody knows about us when we die, right? What we know about people who died. We know about those high achievers like scientists and whoever could author a book, right? Or create a car. But there are so many great people died. They couldn't leave anything behind them. So my approach to content creation is this helped me at least. For years, I had to create content, but I was that
But do you agree
insecure.
with Matt's effort of 36 hours?
I think content creation depends. Like, it's the same concept. I'm not going to repeat the same thing. It's the same outcome. If you want big outcome, if you want big money, you need to work hard. Yeah. If you want good content, good quality, good volume, I think 36 hours is very normal. It has a lot of processes. Like, content creation is another skill of game. It has a lot of processes. I'm not talking equipment, right? From idea, scripting, proving, that feedback, between you and your editor, and publications and the algorithm game. This always stresses you. And my philosophy was like, you know what? I just want to put my stuff instead of we have the best beautiful system. Like, you can record your brain in a video. Mm-hmm. And that pushed me, and I started kind of like documenting what I think, what I believe in it, and in business, of course, and putting it out there. The thing is, I don't know how old are you. I'm not going to ask.
47.
Yeah, exactly. The thing is, my input on this 80 hours, whatever, eventually you're going to come to this. Eventually you're going to come to this mindset. But if you don't do that 80 hours and you don't make that money, when you come, you're not going to be in this mindset because your phone are going to say, oh, you're not going to love your kids that much if you didn't touch that money in that level. But once you touch it, as he explained better than me, okay, it is what it is. You start valuing time and life differently. So I highly relate to that. Is it worth it? It's not, but if you want that Ferrari, I think you need to do it. Same applies
Well,
to content.
I think as a 20-year-old version of myself, probably what I'm saying out loud is the stupidest thing I've ever freaking heard. You know, but the 47 version of me, I'm like, dude, the struggle was real. I made so many mistakes, put so much energy and time into not just people who didn't deserve it, but, you know, projects that didn't. It's like, you know, Matt's analogy is great. It's like the 12th version of the WordPress website, which is what we used to do, was not better than the first one. It just wasn't, you know? So, you know, our like, did our skills improve there? Did we learn lessons? Yes. Okay. And the younger you are, I think, the more that you have to be willing to try things and figure out if you love the process of it or not. Like, can you picture yourself doing this for a long period of time? I'm talking about like 5 years, 10 years or more, right? And in my 20s, I tried all kinds of things, like a lot of entrepreneurs have and a lot of younger people have. But the thing I was figuring out during that time, mostly what I didn't want. And I was just like curating this list of things I didn't want. So I was actually removing things as I went to hopefully arrive and get me closer to the goal. That's all I really care about nowadays. Is like, is what I'm doing today going to get me closer to my goal or goals, right? And that's, you know, like the 20-year-old version of me tried so much stupid crap. I like, you guys would laugh if I started listing all the things, right? But, you know, all those things got me to where I am now, right? So to me, when you say 80 hours, I'm like, that in my mind now, that equals burnout. Like I've burned out several times in my career, just gone like, dude, I need a big break. I don't even know if I want to keep doing this or not, right? And so for me, the older and hopefully wiser that I get, it's like, I'd rather have more white space on my calendar to think and make high quality decisions and really examine like what it means. Hopefully, like if I make the right decision now, that means this, and this good thing will happen, good thing. And I've also trained myself to fail so much that I am seeking to fail as quickly as possible to get to the next step. Mm-hmm. And I learned that in my 20s by grinding, basically, right? So the 80-hour thing, it's like, I think like self-awareness is a huge key to this too. Like we have to be self-aware that we're not all Elon Musk, nor do we want to be. That guy lives a miserable life in my view. I would never want to trade places with him, right? But he's him, and more power to him. If that's what you want, that's what it looks like. Like I don't think there's any way to do it any other way than probably the way he's doing these things, right?
Rob,
yeah.
There's a growing conversation that GoHighLevel has been creating SaaS founders. Mm-hmm. But in reality, many are reselling someone else's infrastructure. Mm-hmm. Where do you stand on that? And what truly defines a real SaaS business in the space?
Well, I think I understand the question. First of all, when you go to sell your agency or your SaaS that you built, nobody cares when they're buying it. They're like, cool, you have the backing of a multi-billion-dollar company. Awesome. Moving on to the next paragraph. So, you know, I hear that objection a lot, actually, and I scratch my head because almost every company on the planet uses third-party software of some sort. It's not like they created the internet or created coding. They're paying like HubSpot or Salesforce,
Google or AWS,
or yeah.
No one has the server farm on the real estate that they own.
Like when you buy a car, someone made the frame, someone made the tires, someone made the components. You don't see us as car buyers lining up to go, you know, wait, did you mold those tires yourself? Because that's the only way I'll buy it. It's. I know I'm trying to make a point and take it to an extreme. Having said that, you want to make a quality decision if you're going to build a business on a platform. I just spent another hour next door talking about why I believe HighLevel has, from a foundational standpoint and a philosophy standpoint, gives you the best opportunity to do that compared to other companies out there. But as far as like building it on another platform, companies do that all the time. They buy and sell businesses all the time. So
where do you stand, Tim? Where do you stand on that? What truly defines a real SaaS business in the space in this growing conversation that GoHighLevel is creating SaaS founders?
Okay, I agree with with everyone what Rob said, but just as a respect for the title of SaaS founders, I don't agree with it. HighLevel provided the outcome of a SaaS founder to entrepreneurs. Yes, I have seen high-level agencies selling, I myself, selling high-level product designed on high level, and they making recurring income. What is SaaS? Like subscription, they making. But did they go through what SaaS founder went through? No. So we should separate that, just like the honor of the struggle, okay? We have the privilege of getting the outcome without the headache of bugs, engineers, product managers, like the compliance, all that stuff. Us high-level agencies or high-level SaaS owners, they don't go through that. So outcome, yes, but title-wise, I would just give that respect for that SaaS founders. So in that part, no, they did not make SaaS founders, and that's a skill set. Not everything is money. As a SaaS founder, you will learn a lot. You will learn a lot of leadership. You will learn a lot of, pivoting. I always say this, like, the strongest, just like the animals in the forest. Okay, the strongest. Not about the strongest power-wise or money-wise. It's how fast you adapt. Dinosaurs, I think, is the most, they are not there. Human, we adapt. As an entrepreneur, you need to have that adaptations, right? And in software business, the true software business, see, high level, as a reselling a sub-account, it's an ocean of product, right? McDonald's, Steakhouse, all these people, all these businesses, they have food, right? They sell it. You go to McDonald's. The packaging is... So we have offers and packaging and product built on top of high level versus pure SaaS company or SaaS product is just different game, okay? Just differentiating the title and the effort and the skill set. I wouldn't agree. No, high level didn't create SaaS founders, product designers, yes, but high level gave all the outcomes and all the awards or nice lifestyle for the SaaS founders, working, getting the subscription, yes. So it's amazing. Just title wise, I don't agree.
This is interesting because I initially my response is, who cares? If you're in it for the title, you should not be an entrepreneur because you get to be the cheap, you're the chief janitor. You know what I mean in your company there. But it feels like the difference between a doctor and a PA. I don't know if they have that in other countries, but you're like,
what's a PA?
Yeah, exactly. Probably every time you've gone to the doctor, you actually met with a physician assistant.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's slightly different title. If you go into there and you're like, I need to make an annual appointment with my doctor, they're like, sure. Hands you over to a PA, so it's slightly less school.
Well, who cares? You're getting treated or not?
They operate under a doctor. Right? They have this other platform they're beholden to. Someone actually signed. Someone did the extra hard work. I don't know, but it's like it feels. So I'm like, okay, fine. I might submit to the distinction there. I feel like it's silly and superfluous. And actually, my first response is, I don't think you want to be a SaaS founder today, because then I was like, well, now I'm going to divide SaaS pre-vibe and post-vibe. Because you're a vibe-coded SaaS founder. I'm like, I was a SaaS founder before vibe coding. So that's a real SaaS founder. I had to hire a whole dev team and had to own the whole server infrastructure costs and have an enterprise contract with AWS. You know what I mean? This feels like a...
No, Matt.
I agree with you.
Don't get me wrong. I'm a big fan of this part, or like just as a respect for the doctor's title and just clarifying what is PA. But I personally, I own a pure SaaS and I own high-level built SaaS. I am more profitable.
Is a vibe-coded SaaS?
No,
no, I know. I think you guys are pre-vibe
I wish.
too. But you started vibe coding?
No.
Doctor title revoked. And I'm just You're
Right?
a doctor using ChatGPT.
Exactly.
But I get it, because before I knew what high level was and I heard this SaaS thing going around, like, we actually created a SaaS that was not that way, right? So it wasn't like when somebody says, "Oh, I'm a SaaS founder," I'm like, "Oh, cool! Like, tell me about it." And they're like, "Well, I white label, all of high level," and I'm like,
nothing wrong.
Okay, well, that's cool, but it wasn't in my mind. It was different, right? So it wasn't even like I'm beating my chest thinking I did something better. It was just that in my mind, I'm like, well, that's not the same as what we just did in bootstrapping and building up.
This is interesting. Would you make that distinction for WordPress?
For WordPress?
Yeah.
Like from an HTML code?
There are literally, now I don't know what they are today, but there were billion-dollar roll-ups of plugins on WordPress.
Yeah.
Is that therefore, and actually I'd say there was a funnel builder for a while on WordPress. You'd be like, there's entire ecosystems built on WordPress, pre-vibe coding, all of that. And I don't think anybody was like, oh, you're not a SaaS founder because you built on an open source platform. So then the distinction is like, well, if it's free and you build upon it, you're a SaaS founder. But if it's paid and you build upon it, now you're not a SaaS founder.
I'm in the who cares camp now.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
I'm with you.
Listen, I have never, ever even known what the difference was, nor did I give a shit whatsoever at all. I do not care at all. I care about making a bunch of money and doing fun stuff that I want to do.
Yeah.
That is it. And it very innocently, that has always been the mission.
Yeah.
So I don't care. And when I see people arguing about it on the internet, all it makes me think is y'all are very feminine men. That's what I think. When I see people in the group arguing about that, I think to myself, oh, that's interesting. That's very interesting. You guys are fighting over
look,
this.
Let me give you. So I'm hella practical, right? So I tried starting my own SaaS to do what basically HighLevel did way better twice, and I white labeled some other dude's pure SaaS that he created with his partners. And
It was actually built on WordPress, though.
Probably.
Perfect.
Yes.
Perfect. No,
Yeah.
I did. Perfect.
With a free
perfect
plugin, free SMS plugin. Look, I joke that I'm a caveman, but I'm really not that smart, y'all. It's like that totally could have been the case. But you know, all those guys were like, "You will never, ever, 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 like make a dent in this marketplace." Including my current media buyer started this thing that was, you know, they call it homebrew, I guess, with code. You know, he's like, "Oh yeah, my partner homebrewed it," and you know, it means he wrote all the code, I guess, and all this stuff. And it was a pretty good tool. But every single one of those, as we lapped them, I just was like, still here, still rocket shipping to the moon. I mean, if y'all are so much better, enjoy the view from down there, I guess. But literally, like, I think this is the part that I think Caitlyn's describing, is people's egos get wrapped up in titles because we've been conditioned to do that. And I just don't care. I am like, where is the practicality in all this? If it's not there, I really don't care what y'all call yourselves. I'm out. That's literally how I roll nowadays. Yeah. And the thing that gets you caught up in that, I think, is that most of us went to school and the school conditions you to say, hey, keep going to school, get the title, get the certificate, whatever it is, and respect the people who do it.
Yep.
Respect the people who love it. But what happens is in those, it becomes a bit of an echo chamber. And what ends up happening is your behavior just begins mimicking all these people that you're not even sure you want the same lifestyle as. Right. And that's the dangerous part about the title thing. So to me, I don't care. You can call it whatever you want. You can call yourself a SaaS founder, or, you know, you can have it tattooed. This is just a GHL white label, you know. But the reality is that the end users don't care. I was just talking to Matt. We're in an outcome-based economy. Everybody's like, what can you do for me now? How fast will I get it? What should my expectation be? How much does it cost? Like, they want the brass tacks now because there's so much BS. There's too much BS. And so people have gone back to like crawling back in a hole, and it's like a trust recession mixed with this outcome economy. It's like, they don't care. Just serve the customer, create 10x more value than you're charging, and move on with your life. Like, it's very simple, right? Yeah. So that's kind of like my rant on it, I guess.
And if I finish that, like, that's the way I was when I first heard it. More because I just didn't know that that's what they were calling themselves. Right now, I look at so many people that have built inside of HighLevel, and they've got things that are amazing. Like, and there's different levels through that. I mean, 85% of our users are HighLevel users. So I've met the cream of the crop, and I've met the guys that, you know, they don't know how to put a Facebook pixel on an ad, you know, like you're in two different levels of thought when it comes to that. But it's, the reality is we are, as you watch people that are building in HighLevel and doing amazing things inside of it. I mean, there are days that I wish that I could throw mine to the side and have somebody else doing all the back end of that work, because it's a grind. We're 6 years in and thinking things that I was going to be able to accomplish in 3 months, and you know, we're still building out and doing all that, and I don't have that type of support that sits behind me, you know. And so there's times that I'm jealous of that side of things, because there's both sides have its challenge. You got to fight through, and really that's what it boils down to. Are you bringing value to people in the end? No matter what tool you're utilizing, whether it's one that you built in your garage or whether it's one that you are, you know, white labeling and put it in, it doesn't matter as long as you're building something of value.
Do you have the same respect for someone who vibe codes a software versus hires developers or the other ones developing?
gonna
don't.
clarify my position from the last time. I do not care about the titles. I could like argue the circles around how nonsense it is. So I do 1,000% ascribe SaaS founder to folks that are just slapping on there. It's a spectrum of like the title kind of means nothing. I mean, for context, I have an MBA from UCLA. I don't like put MBA behind my name because I really don't care about the title. Like I did it to learn something and glean something out of it. And so in the same case, like Vibe Coded Not, I don't know if you guys saw the, I forget who published it, but it was the guys who, the 2-person business that got to 1.8 billion.
Yes.
Matthew.
Yep.
All of it was white labeled.
Yeah.
It was a white label business. Now, then there's like more shady stuff comes out. Like even their
The
endorsed
doctors,
doctors were white labeled. Like, they vibe coded the professionals endorsing the product. So they went a little bit further into just total illegal advertising.
Yeah.
However,
The whole thing's white label.
yeah, the illegal part aside, it's like respect. You found a problem and you found the most efficient way to solve it. Like that's where it's like if you're doing it to build character, then like great, hard work matters. Like show up in the gym and you carry heavy stuff to be like stronger. I'm like, so I can carry my kids, right? But to Rob's point, the outcome's what you're going for. So if you found a faster way to get there, a more efficient way to get there, and like it just showcases that you actually solved the real problem. There's so many things that you are responsible in the business. And it's actually a point of wisdom to allocate less energy and effort to things that already exist. For example, almost none of us, and hopefully nobody listening, has their own hard drive storing their emails in their basement right now.
Are you naming out a certain politician?
No, but like we've gotten to that point where it's like, oh, of course you're not going to in-house your emails. That
Right.
would be nonsense. And
That
I'm
would
like,
be ludicrous.
I don't think there's a line where that stops. Where it's like, oh, it's okay that you pay Gmail for your email, a core business infrastructure, but you feel weird about taking the easier, efficient route in all these other the business. Like I would do that for everything if I could get that kind of predictable delivery of quality. And that's what those guys did is they found out, you don't need to get real doctors, just AI vibe some doctors, and then the whole supplement fulfillment, it was entirely white labeled. And so they did the actual hard part of the business in that business, which was the marketing and sales. And they did that piece and they, like I said, caveat the illegal portion of it. But like otherwise, I heard that, I was like, respect. That's how we should be trying to grow businesses.
I have a really interesting example quick here. So a good business associate and personal friend of my husband and I, his name is Ed. It's Syed. He's from Pakistan. Known the guy for years. Guy's very, very wealthy, very successful. Owns, all sorts of Porsche dealerships all over Atlanta, Georgia. Has it together and has for a long time. A couple years back, he spent minimum $250K for the kind of MVP to be created for basically, what is that app where you can buy and sell cars in America? He created it for Pakistan, okay?
Like Carvana?
Yes, like Carvana. And he created it, and the minimum to start it with all the programmers, coders in Pakistan, $250,000 to start. When he came to visit Vicente and I in El Salvador like 2 months ago, he's like, you think I could pay you guys to vibe code this up? So one of the wealthiest men I've ever known in my life doesn't give a shit whether it was vibe coded or he paid the guys in Pakistan. And he's the guy spending the money. So we should be listening to him. What's his opinion? He doesn't care.
Yeah.
So why should we? Because he's the one paying us or guys like us who have teams, gals like us who have teams. And at night, Ed is not laying there going, man, I should have paid my coders in Pakistan to be more respected for this new Carvana app.
Hey, gotta come closer to the mic.
You're killing me.
Well,
with this mic.
What if no one hears you?
Let's circle this back because this goes right back to our 4-hour week versus an 80-hour week, right? Because I could put 80 hours a week coding,
Right.
or I could vibe code and finish something in 4 hours that would have taken me 6 months.
Yeah.
So all we've done in this is got smarter. We figured out ways that we can accomplish the same exact thing faster. And just because we have AI that may be creating it doesn't mean that it's less than. It just means that we got it done more efficiently. And that's what we're all trying to get to anyway. So I think as we look at everything that we're doing right now and AI becoming what it is, I think that's the thing, is that things are just moving faster and it's helping us to be able to accomplish everything that we want. And it's not that one is better or one is worse. It's just usually one's more efficient.
And I'll I'll offer the perspective that I give my team is the caution of AI is that as humans, we typically take a little bit of signal in essentially speed and confidence as correctness, right? We take confidence as correctness, and speed is the proxy, right? If I have to think about it a while and I say confident, like maybe he doesn't know, but if I'm quickly like, here's the answer, he's like, oh, he probably knows. And so AI gives us all of that, but that does not mean it's correct. And so in the same way with like vibe coding, like on one hand, we went from like horses to cars. Absolutely, we need to jump into the right vehicle there. But because it's digital, we can't tell that we're slamming our foot on the gas pedal and just mowing over mailboxes and going through yards, and it feels like I'm going faster in the direction that I wanted to go. It doesn't always mean that it's consequence-free. So like 1,000%, we should be in the fast vehicle, and I think that's just a caveat to this is usually the argument that like people that have a programming background will say is like, you're jumping in the car and disregarding the safety or any potential consequences of this. And I think in both sides, or like to the reference point earlier, one is on the ethics side of it, so like safety and ethics, and then also it's like actually like, is there security? Like, did we accidentally delete a bunch of features? Did we care about the data that we got there? And so as entrepreneurs, these are usually secondary questions, but I think it's worth a note there that basically, yes, get into the car, but then acknowledge the responsibility that we have. So if we're gonna like vibe code it, and we have to do is like you gotta be QCing this because it's not flawless.
The way I hear the question, or the other day maybe on social media, it is basically, again, it's not about how is the outcome and all that stuff, but I kind of hear that hey, what are you trying to sell to small businesses, the all-in-one platform, whatever, someone tomorrow will come and vibe code it or a business owner can, like someone can copy Carvana, right? Yeah. In my opinion, this will be, like I think then knowing there will be no value on how everybody can do anything they want. People, I guess, is not going to go, or company is not going to compete with features anymore. I think it's going to be based on mission. So as an end customer, am I going to be willing to invest and put my assets to someone just out of curiosity and he can do it? You know, he built something as Salesforce or high level, or I will put it on a platform that the company's on a mission on that product that they built. So it's not going to be based on knowing, what you have, that software, I can do it. So imagine just high level, right? Before this vibe coding. What you sell to small businesses, this, I can do it too. Okay, go ahead, do it. I'm on that mission. So my mission, vision, core value, everything that on that mission, driving there. So we're gonna improve the product that way. And I think people gonna shop around from human as well, because as a product, everywhere you can, software-wise, you can find it anywhere. In fact, you can do it.
So what you're saying is it's not the tool that people are going to be attracted to. It's going to be the mission.
Yeah, there will be no value for tools anymore. Like, let's say 10 years from now, which is, it's a lot of time. See, 10 years normal days is different with AI. With a stupid business owner, right, with my respect, right? It's not like stupid tech-wise. Sorry, my English is my fifth language, so I'm not that high, okay? So I don't speak that, I don't pick my words that higher level. So anybody can basically say, I want all-in-one platform, workflows, does that, boom. So I think solutions and features will be done. So I will look at you, I'm a guy that I build your webinars. I know how to do your webinar. Yeah, but this is your very part-time specialty. So again, it goes to your mission. So every
personal
company's
brand.
mission.
You're gonna work with personal brand.
No, I mean even company, like as a company, what is their mission? Their mission is to connect the car seller with the buyer, right? That guy in Pakistan.
But you're somewhat falling in love with him though, the webinar guy. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? In that instance right
now. Definitely.
And everyone knows him as the amazing
webinar guy.
One-to-many webinar guy. So I'm just saying that mission does kind of come into play with falling in love with them in their personal brand a little, and in my opinion, right? Because Freedom Automations was Freedom Automation's and personal brand, then I exited out, and then it's a mix, and people liked me because I was authentic and I said what I felt, and so then that made them want to work with Freedom Automations. And people like to work with Andy because he's professional and he's a badass, and they mix that personal brand and that feeling he gives them with the one-to-many webinar thing. So mission does sometimes coincide with personal brand, in my opinion.
No, I like how you put it. So
Yeah.
you know how brands, like there was no value for
Yes.
brands anymore. People liked personal brands. I think the way your analogy, you're fitting it companies-wise, like
Yeah.
company-wise, feature and solutions no more, like the mission. Okay,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
like it.
Not
yeah.
always, but sometimes.
And I look at it as there's no like and trust that still that people have always done
Amen.
business with people
Yep.
they know, like, and trust. If they like you, because your personality will pull them in,
Yep.
and they know who you are and what you stand for, and then they trust that you're going to be able to have the wherewithal to deliver what you say you're going to do. Everybody's got the features. Everybody can go vibe code whatever the heck they want, but do they trust that you're going to be able to stay with it? Are you going to be around tomorrow? Like, that's the thing I'm seeing. When AI first started coming, we go to all the trade shows, and everybody had AI in their name, and it popped up, and now 90% of them are gone.
Yep.
Because all they had was an idea, or they had some type of a prompt, and they sold it as a business. You know, like that's all that it was. And then now that we're watching AI start to develop more and more and more, it's changing every week. Like, it's what you can do with it changes all the time. And so I still think it's going to come back to a personality, which I love being the salesperson in my team, because my job is to go out and build relationships and help build that know, like, trust aspect into what we do as a company. Are we the only data people out there? No, but I don't really care. I want to be able to build relationships to the place where you go, I want to work with Casey. You know?
Speaking of AI, the next prompt, the next question here is, a lot of people are saying that AI is replacing marketers, but is it actually replacing them, or is it exposing the ones who never had any real strategy, any real mission, any real conversion skills, any real messaging to begin with?
I
B.
think that's too far each way.
No, I think it's B. The B was actually pretty spot on. I think what we're observing right now, so let's say you're like a video clipper and you're like the best video clipper in the world, and you get paid, let's just call it $1,000 a month. It's not just the execution of that makes you valuable. It's the know-how and the strategy and the skill of making all the rest of the great things at the end of that sentence happen, right? So what does that mean? Well, if you were to split it into two pieces, there's an execution layer and there's a strategy and pointing the ship in the right direction layer, right? So again, this is where experience and proficiency come into play. But, you know, copywriting was the first big segment in marketing to get hit with the AI thing, right? Mm-hmm. So, you know, in fact, there was a bunch of companies that had sort of accessed AI early, and they were doing very well. I think one of them reached $1 billion valuation at one point, and then OpenAI opened, you know, like the next month, and everyone's like, screw that, I'm going to do this myself, get out of the way, right? Mm-hmm. So it's not that, like, copywriting, for example, is being fully swallowed by AI. People still need help with strategy, experience, you know, like all kinds of things. So again, this is what I'm saying about the time thing. You might already know the prescription for a certain type of client, and they all get basically the same prescription. If you're a pro copywriter, right? It's like, oh, I can take an x-ray of your business. I know these problems well. I know exactly how to solve them. So I'm gonna help you solve them quickly. This is what I do all the time. The execution of that is the layer that's getting swallowed up. So I would think of it that way. It's a good way to think of it for right now, at least, which is where you're saying, okay, you can go learn copywriting, and you could get copywriting from AI. But to Matt's point, is it always right? Is it always the best prescription for the client in the real world? Does it always increase all the metrics that you need to make this worth it to the bottom line? The answer is freaking no, right? Like, so if you're a professional copywriter and you have that skill set is going to be very hard to replicate anytime soon, in my view.
Rob, if you have, because what I'm hearing you say is that you're going to take a system, build a system, and then you're going to duplicate across a client profile or client type, and that's your scalability. But what I'm hearing from you is that the role can be duplicated over time. And I think about the people who are an accountant that they're doing the same thing over and over again. AI learns it and replaces them. And so doesn't that make
so
put you in the perspective of you're going to be replaced as an agency?
Have you ever played with like a CPA replacement or accounting GPT thing? It's awful. It is terrible. So like it's not correct, and it's not necessarily the best thing for you. Well, who's going to help me with that? A human who's got 30 years experience, right? So the QuickBooks might have been executed on by AI, and it's pretty close, but probably like the last 10% still needs looking over to make sure it's right. And there could be skews in there as well. So like, if there's one giant number that dwarfs all these entries of tiny little numbers, that maybe doesn't tell the whole story, right? That's what I'm saying. So I would be ready now to get the execution layer replaced by AI very quickly. I would be doubling and tripling down on, hey, is this correct? Is this prescription the right thing for you? Is this what the market is responding to the best, or the IRS, or whoever you're helping? It would be a little bit like someone who went to let's go with doctors. If you went to medical school 40 years ago, medical school looks entirely different now, right? So what do doctors do? They're forced basically to do continuing education to keep up with the times, right? So that doctor not only has the 40 years worth of practical experience, but they've also stayed with the times and know what's currently working now, right? So as you get experience, the I would call them hard skills, like execution skills, can deteriorate or get replaced. So like think of a robot doing surgery, or a new technology that comes out that cuts down your amount of surgeries by like 100 a year or something. Okay, that will impact the execution of it. But what about diagnosis? What about proper prescription? What about new treatments, new drugs, right? Like,
I want to take a moment, go to the live. Martina says, I feel he's saying mission first is going to satisfy the emotional / decision maker, because anybody can handle the tech / tools in this fast approaching future. That's Martina Britt Yelverton. Pointed to you.
Thank you for explaining what I'm trying to say better than me.
Nice.
I always see these kind of people.
Oh, you did great.
And then we do have some questions about starting an agency, which we may be able to get to here. Before we get to that, and so if you're watching this live and you're liking the content so far, be sure to write a comment. We're going to come back and go to you at some point. Thank you, Martina, for piggybacking on what Tim was expressing here. Now, let's go back here. There's a perception. Oh, no. A lot of people say that AI is replacing marketers, but is it actually replacing them? Or is it just exposing the ones who never had a real strategy, real messaging, real skills? Where do you guys stand on this?
Yeah, I'll go back to the question before, because I think it incorporates into this around the tech and AI kind of getting rid of it. You were calling it messaging. I think of like that message or the mission. I think of that as 1/5 of great marketing. Marketing is connection, right? Just connecting people with other people, people that have something to sell. And one of those points of connection that people find more valuable than money is mission, right? Like the things that they care about beyond money. The other 4 is like family, status, health, and time, right? So any of those 5, great marketing. You connect on those levels, people will decide to use you, not because your product is better, but because the outcome is better. Like you could have a great mission. If there's a coffee shop that literally like saves someone, I don't know, like donates every dollar of the coffee to like help a homeless person, but the parking lot's very far away and I have to walk a mile to get there, versus like Starbucks that's drive-through. I would love to go to the coffee shop with the mission every single time, but I'm going to drive to the drive-through because my kids are screaming and I can get them like a muffin, right? And so, because they're competing on time, right? That convenience factor of it. So one of those 5, it's going to come down, but it's just marketing in that connection. So AI replacing on the marketing side of it, I would agree with Rob. It's the execution piece of it, but I do think maybe to the doctor example is the perspective of like knowing when person's asking a wrong question. I don't know anything about stocks, but if you said like, hey, what's a great stock to pick, without the context of like, I'm picking it today and I want to know who's high performing now, it might say, here's the highest performing stock of all time. And it's like IBM. And you're like, okay, yeah, relative. If I bought that in like 1950, you know what I mean? But I was obviously asking about now. Doctors, professionals get that. They get when you ask dumb questions, and they can hold all of the nuance of their own experience, like best practices, continuing education, and then also just like some of the outliers that might have overlaps in your situation. And so I think you're going to still have that in marketing and to the people who are actually doing it and boots on the ground. And that's like we see, like if I asked AI right now, like make me a great ad creative, I almost guarantee it's not going to come up with a meme. And I would tell you, year to date, 2026, our best performing still image ads are all memes.
Yeah.
And so I'd be like, well, AI, don't you know better? Why aren't you choosing the best image of this? And it's like, well, because its context is kind of like, well, based on all that's available for the longer chunk of time,
Exactly.
single image ads look like single image ads. And it's also like there's industries and all sorts of stuff that play into that. And even though I'm like, well, dear AI, look at ours. I've tested 500 still image ads this year, and it's always the memes that win.
Yeah.
And it's like, good catch.
It's like, thanks. Moving on.
Yeah, it's like, great catch.
You
When you
got-
want
it's
a
like-
best performing ad based on your data,
Yeah.
definitely go with the meme ad. And you're like, well, why
But it's
did
like
you-
there's no consequence, right? Like, when it comes down to like you have a team member, you have an employee. It's like
But
okay,
even this
here's a
will be
consequence.
fixed.
But with AI, it's like good catch. Let's move on to the next thing. It's like no, motherfucker. Like I'm saying this is the issue. You know what? And what am I going to complain to Claude? Like I'm going to send the CEO of Claude an email saying, "Look, this is what happened."
I mean, eventually, though, and this is kind of comical but also terrifying. So, I agree with everything that if you're a great writer, a great anything, you're gonna be, your prompts are gonna be better, your everything, right? It's gonna be, the output's better. But eventually, humans are gonna be so, it's gonna be so dystopian. It's gonna be, have you seen that movie?
I think you have a
Idiocracy?
great comment here, but
Oh,
everyone
sorry,
would
guys.
love to hear
Yeah,
it.
I hate this. Mic
can
is the
just
bane of
hold it.
my
You can
existence.
just hold it.
Guys, this is the
It's-
bane
no,
of
it's
my
fine.
existence. Okay, I'm
Everyone
gonna
wants
be
to
holding it
hear
now.
it.
Fine. She's fine. It's
All
not
right,
like,
so
that's good.
I fear that after this phase goes of really great marketers, great copywriters using and having good output, right? That we will all be living in the Idiocracy movie. It'll be all slop, and everyone's going to be accepting it. We're not even going to drink water anymore. It's just going to be that weird Gatorade product that we're washing all of our food with and feeding all of our crops with as well. Everyone's going to
great movie.
accept everything, and we're all going to be wearing Meta glasses and seeing stuff and having seizures all day long from all the lights, like, and the ads that we're watching. So I think that we're going to go through a phase right now where quality is still good, and AI can't be as good as humans that are running it, right? But then I do think in some years we're gonna have a very dystopian time for a while, and that's absolutely terrifying to me.
I think it's funny. Right now, I know there's a lot of kids that are hopping on this, but I also see a lot of teenagers right now that are rejecting AI in every way possible.
My daughter.
Yeah, they want
Yep.
nothing to do with it. They think
Yep.
that it's horrible. They can tell that it's AI immediately. Like, I remember when I first saw the videos from AI, and I'm like, look, you can't even tell there's anything wrong. And my kids are like, we've been watching this for a long time, Dad. And, you know, like, they can tell instantly. And now I see all those same things. And
It was like oh, this person had 3 fingers.
Yeah.
the
Yes.
3 fingers, or just that tinny voice that they all have, and it's
Yeah.
really excited, you know, if they're making these types of things, and so you can see it now. And I look at it now as if you look at the way that AI is taking over, in some ways, I still think it's going to come back to people once again, because that roofer, he's not going to do AI. That, you know, that's the reason. It's not like Google AdWords didn't exist and Facebook ads didn't exist. They chose people to do it because they wanted to take it off their own plate. Like, they're outsourcing just like we might outsource different parts of our own businesses. So I look at it in the end, like, I don't think marketing is going to go away. I don't think we have a whole lot to necessarily fear. There's always going to be a small subsect of people that are going to come in and they're going to take AI by the horns and win. But the reality is that most people that own a business, they wear 12 hats and they suck at 10 of them. And so one of those is probably going to be marketing, or it's going to be out there. And is it going to change? Yeah, just like everything else has changed over the years. We talked about in the interview that we did earlier, like, you can't have a marketing business for more than 3 years, because every 3 years it changes.
Yeah.
Everything has a cycle that's going to come with it. And I think AI is going to have different things and new stuff that's going to come out. But it's going to cycle through, and there's going to be new AI, and there's going to be new features that are going to be a part of it. And AI is going to not be necessarily AI anymore. It's just going to be how we do things. Like, it's just that average part of what we are.
So is AI going to replace marketers?
I mean,
No.
it's gonna all be determined by the and I don't want to get deep into this. I do not. But it's all going to end up being determined by the government and where we're at politically. That's what's going to happen in the end. And who gets to own businesses, who gets to market, who gets to be the lucky few. It will get to that point. It's going to take a while, but it will get to that point where we have less control.
I'm going to go with no.
Here,
Food for thought. Zoom exists, right?
Yeah.
Years, everybody got Zoom?
Yeah.
We all came here to sit in the same room to have a conversation that we could have.
Percentage-wise, how many people doing this versus Zoom?
No, but why? Okay, you're saying percentage-wise? Yeah, obviously the majority of people are using Zoom, but this still exists. So I guess if the question is, are there going to be less professional marketers? Yeah, of course. This is a consolidation always. It's kind of like, even the idea of cloning, this was kind of like the vibe coding making things easier. There were dupe websites for years before this. You know how many Airbnb spin-offs there have been, or Facebook spin-offs? How many people from 2012 to 2018 hired a dev company to be like, can you make my own Facebook? That was a whole economy of helping people create the ripoff. Now it's easier to do the ripoff, but it just showed that cloning the experience is not the same thing as the experience there. And so in one sense, there probably are still more social media sites than there have ever been before, but there's fewer that people spend time on. And so in the same way, there will probably be more marketers than there's ever been before, but there's probably going to be fewer that actually make any money.
Yeah, but will it replace them? Is with the AI and the cloning, I want to know, you see all these AI clones that you can do avatars, right? Matt, you said earlier you spent 36 hours in a week making videos. Why not just make an avatar? Everyone's saying you can avatar yourself. You can do that. You could have created them. You could have spun that out. You can use HeyGen. Yeah,
I don't think it's ready. I don't think it's ready to
it's not,
look like.
You see the top marketers today, I don't see them using AI avatar clones. They're all still creating their own videos and they're making their own copy. I know there was one of the big marketers did it.
Oh shit! Okay,
I know
okay. we can. Let's go start the controversy.
Oh no!
Bring up Frank.
The prompt I put in was only this.
It's not going to replace the nuances and the things that Matt can get across in the video when you're talking.
Yeah.
Because we tried to do that for us, and we started playing with HeyGen and stuff, and there's just little words, and I think they would have been okay, and people may not have realised that's not quite how Gary speaks. That's not quite what he says. But when I look at it, I'm like, that's not quite right. And I think there's a subtle thing in that human brain that's looking at it. The kids, they can see it's AI. People, they might go, oh, that's right, they'll watch it, but they know it's not quite real. Yeah. So will it replace them in the future? Possibly, we don't know. We have no idea where it's getting.
I think,
but it's not there now, right?
Part of it is, if you're just looking for the easy way to make money. And this is funny. So people don't know this, but Zappy Chat, there was one niche that was absolutely crushing it, and it was GLP-1s. And I said the easiest way to make money right now is just sell GLP-1s. And this goes back to those guys, to the $1.8 billion company. That's what they were doing. So if you're hearing this and you want the easiest way to make money, just look up what platform they use. You could probably white label your own GLP-1 thing and just run media, because selling people the quick, literally jab to lose weight is still probably the easiest thing to sell.
Did you know they left it in the source code on their homepage, what the platform that they use?
Yeah, they weren't even they
didn't even move the domain anywhere.
They didn't even care to hide it.
No.
So anywho, if you're just trying to go for the easiest way to not starve, there are so many easier ways to do it. For me, the 36 hours is because maybe this is part of the mission there is get vulnerable is I want to be a good coach to my kids. Being a good coach to my kids, coaches like a human, is I need to demonstrate doing the hard work to get whatever the result is it's going to be. And this was learning and embracing and going towards a new skill. So it's there was probably an easier way if you just want to produce a video a day on YouTube, yeah, I could HeyGen and just prompt an AI creates the AI that creates the AI. But if I wanted to actually model mastery, then for me, that was the right route to produce what I wanted to produce. And the irony of it, and I said this is I had done 10 videos on YouTube that got 5,000 subscribers. Then I did 100 videos on YouTube and it got 1,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
Part of it was because I leveraged paid media. That's another point of leverage there. And the The networks are like drug dealers. Once they know you'll pay,
Boom.
they're like, keep on paying us. You get no organic distribution whatsoever.
Yes.
But
that's why my YouTube channel still has 5 subscribers. Oh, got it.
if you run paid ads, they like.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Yeah.
Google knows now, like it's even just AI in general. Like if you're looking for like AI summaries for businesses, one of the big influencers in that right now is actually that you're a human who has experience and you have credentials, and that content is actually getting ranked higher inside of that for a lot of businesses. If you're putting out blog content, that's one of the things that they're taking into consideration now. But I think the reason that Google is playing that route and making it rank higher is simply because that's how humans think.
Yeah.
I don't want AI regurgitated crap coming out. I want something that's real with somebody that has experience and high levels of knowledge to teach me or to instruct me or to give me that next nugget of goodness. I don't want a conglomerate of people that could be right and could be wrong, and it's just a mix-up of things. I want something that's real, and I look at that's the next real thing. I don't look at AI as really, it's big. I think the next real thing is going to be real experiences. It's going to be going back out into nature. It's going to be going back in, because I think we're going to get to that, maybe that dystopian mindset. But I think there's going to be a point where we're going to go, man, I got to put my feet in the grass again. I got to go and be in a waterfall in Costa Rica,
why we did
right?
Kicking SaaS, to
exactly.
bring people back to nature.
To that very thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I don't want to entertain AI discussion to keep the purpose of this meeting or this hangout high level oriented. The AI topic is out there. Everybody's talking about it. I would like to discuss and get the experience of high level stuff, so to be valuable for the audience. But just to, while this is for the record, just to announce my disagreement with all the negative feedback on AI. I believe this is just today. It's going to be just better and better and better. And let's not forget the LLM, and then we have the agentics group agents. The agentic AI now, my agent is working for me. I had a lot of EAs in my life, human, never like my Genghis Khan. Okay, I named him that way. It's incredible. However, I'm not going to talk about
AI
that.
agent is called Genghis Khan.
Yeah, my name Timur Lenk, Genghis Khan. Anyways, we are good two dictators. Anyways, so it's just gonna get better and better and better. In my opinion, short, I'm not the expert talking about it. Open that computer, anything can be done with that computer. AI will do it way better. In my opinion, massage, whatever, touching, maybe not. Okay, so real experience not. Regarding answering that question, in my perspective, also that will add to Matt's, he called it marketing, I would call it design, the offer design. If your offer, no matter how you done it, it's around these four areas. Mission has nothing to do with it. Saving, like making the customer money, or saving them money, which is making money, or saving them effort and time, or insurance, or status, right? This is what, like, that's the one-time offer.
Well, I'm saying my 5 are things that are worth more than money. And I say it's marketing because I usually deliver these independent of my offer. Has everybody been to the summit? Yeah. I'm surprised more people don't just like copy me. But, I give the shoes to the speakers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody I'd never met, didn't know who they were, gave it there, turned into another 7-figure contract from a $250 pair of sneakers. I don't sell sneakers. That's not my business. Yep. What was it? I was giving them status. They were on stage
100%.
feeling cool in the shoes they were wearing, and they were so blown away by this that they're like, what do you guys even do? So I don't know if that counts as offer. It definitely counts as marketing.
As a practice, my point to that answer, which I don't think that question was studied properly. AI, huge, wild, marketing is huge thing. So it's kind of wide question. But as a practice, yeah, that's awesome. But my answer to that, if you, future marketers, design something around these 4 things, saving money, time and effort, and status, everything status, even that uniqueness, Rolex, tattoo, even ring, like telling the other, hey, I'm married, or like, beard, I'm religious, right? I'm cool. I'm weird, whatever. Because as studies, like if you put this guy, anybody, put to like in an island, no human, I think we're not gonna grow beers and stuff. We're not gonna do anything. This is so hot. Let me put it. What to approve to who, right? Same works for businesses and the insurance, of course. So if the offers around these stuff, I think no matter you build it on AI or so, if you are solving one of these problems, I think marketers.
Let me play a scenario for you, man. Because this is one scenario, but this one scenario multiplied by 1,000 scenario, by 1,000 times over 1,000 people. A customer on your SaaS, they come to you to build a funnel. You charge $5,000 to build a funnel for them and some workflow. I'm making this scenario up, but you charge $5,000 for you to build a funnel for them and a workflow. They come to you and you give them the invoice, send them the invoice. A week later, they say, cancel the invoice. I'm not interested in paying anymore. And you say, why? I just learned that I can vibe code this on Lovable. Yeah. And then on top of that, I can take the HTML code and just copy and paste it in my own funnel. Yeah. And I just learned ChatGPT will actually give me the instructions. So we'll skip your $5,000 payout. Yes. But your business is not in the world of SaaS. Your business is in the world of marketing build-outs, workflow build-outs. So $5,000 that was supposed to be in your pocket is replaced by artificial intelligence. Your customer doesn't even want to do business with you from the perspective of buying your high-ticket service.
Let me tell you, your hypothetical question is not true. You said today, a customer coming, asking me, I would charge even this, I would tell him, you can do this. So that's not my offer. I'm talking if my pitch is this. Customer today, if they ask me, I think designing, which he can do it with templates, with whatever, I would charge this. This is what I charge, right? For copyright, this is what I charge. Okay, don't pay me. You told me, and I will say, I'll charge this much. So that question is customer asking me this is what I do. Give me a ride. I will charge $1,000. I can Uber. Okay, go Uber, right? That's not a good question. My point is, if I design an offer around this stuff, by all times, Amazon, with Amazon Prime, right? Making us money, right? Or like making us save money, save time, go and shop and stuff, all insurance. If you buy, you don't like it, you can return. Insurance company, insurance business is the best business, right? Because nobody likes, to lose whatever they psychologically. This is not me. Like, it's old books and universities. And then status again, prime user, right? You can get. So I think this will, if the decision maker human is not the AI, I think if you play your offer design around these 4 areas, I think you will survive. You future marketer, right?
So let me add a little color commentary to that. I think, when I was growing up, my dad and all of his friends were contractors for most of their careers, right? And I watched them build some pretty awesome stuff. And the analogy I keep going back to is, was anybody angry the day like the nail gun came out if you're a fence builder? Well, it's really simple. You have options, right? It's like the fence builder can build probably 2 to 5 times as many fences in one day versus just using hammer and a nail, right? The customer doesn't care whether you use the nail gun or the hammer and the nail. They probably never have asked that in the history of humanity. So what else does that leave? In other words, a better tool happened that was way more efficient, right? So it increased the speed of execution, let's call it, right? So in this scenario, I would say a poor funnel builder, is that what we said, funnel and workflow, would say, it's $5,000, take it or leave it. A very good funnel builder would be like, well, go ahead and play with that, but come back and tell me when it's not working. And the customer would go, it would force the customer to go, well, why would you say that? And it's like, well, just building the funnel is just the execution part. There's all these other things around it. There's support, there's expertise, there's copywriting, there's best practices, there's like all kinds of things around it, right? There's compliance. So when my dad would sell a project, he was selling all of the things around it, not just the outcome that they were looking for, right? Meaning he's like, we have our process, these are the phases, I'll help you design it. I'll, if you want any changes mid-project, here's how that works. Like all these things are like around it, right? So I think people are quick to just like write it off and go, oh, if I start being a funnel builder today and I'm trying to sell it the old way, you're going to be in deep trouble.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
If you're saying, look at my expertise, like for example, when I had my agency, every single gym client got the same landing page. Every single one. We just changed the name of the location and the video, and they all got it. The reason why is because that thing was split tested to hell, and we knew it worked in every market better than anything else. Like we'd already done it, right? So
there's a version of me that this saddens.
Why?
Because 10 years ago, that was how I fed my family.
Well, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, right? But I'm grateful today I'm in the tool business rather than the service business where I'm doing the service. But there's a version of me, like my daughter was just here, and I'm like, if I didn't catch on in the time frame that I did catch on, this would have put me out of luck.
Yeah, but you did. Okay, think about it. Think about the flip side. What are marketers armed with that is like supercharged compared to what you did initially?
The tools, the tech.
The tools. So like you can build an agent, right? That's a duplicate of your brain, way more efficient, has all your IP, all your knowledge systems, expertise built inside of it.
Genghis Khan the second.
Right.
I had a customer who came to me, non-technical at all whatsoever, farthest from technical, come to me and say, oh my goodness, I built out a landing page and a marketing campaign for my course. And well, great. They're a client who pays us on a subscription basis for the tech. So they built it in my tech. I'm like, okay, this is awesome. Right? The more stuff you do, the better in retention. But then I also think about the scenario of how I made money 10 years ago, where I arbitrage the lack of knowledge of how to build out those campaigns and charge a premium.
Can I
And
offer
I
you a
took-
different perspective?
Yeah.
I'm open.
I think I'm with Matt on this
How
one.
you fed your family was not the skill of building. It was the skill of sales, which I don't think is being replaced by AI.
Yeah.
Because if I told you there was an amazing AI right now that would do your taxes for $5, who's signing up? Why?
I don't know about $5.
No, for real. Because what you're actually buying is, I never heard anybody say it like this, but what Tim's talking to, it's insurance. Like the fence builder, why I don't care whether he uses a nail gun or a hand, it's guaranteeing that when I hire him, I'm not going to Home Depot 5 times.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And in the same way to this person who like, the person who has that experience that you described at the start, that's actually a very helpful, beneficial feedback loop and lesson that they need to get better at sales because they had the conversation. Remember I was going like with the great funnel builders, like if it was me, I would have taken $1,000 down before they'd left. And so then they'd have to come back to me and be like, hey, remember that non-refundable deposit? Can I get it back? I'm like, no, I'm honest, integrous man. You cannot have it back. You want to waste that $1,000 and go run with AI? Have a great life. But I can help you and talk you through why working with me was still the right decision if you'd like, right? And so that's, for anybody out there who's doing it and doing services, it's still the skills vehicle, the energy vehicle that you're going to invest into, sales and marketing. This came back to the conversation we had earlier in the day. Is like I still think solving that problem precedes the tool. People care about the outcome, but if you're bad, the second half of the equation of connecting to your business, the connecting to the solution, you have to let them know you exist, do good marketing. You have to help them separate from their money, invest in the actual solution. If you're bad at that, they'll never experience the benefit. They will end up, it happens to me, spending more on materials and trips to Home Depot than it would have been to just hire the person. And I also think it's interesting and why I don't know if AI would come to this conclusion. I just hired somebody to drywall a small space. I'm making a little shed studio in the yard because we're redoing the down house. And so I did talk to, I now funnel hack everything. So I reach out to 10 people on Nextdoor. Only like 4 of them respond. Only 2 of them will come the same day for the quote. I got 2 quotes in front of me. $1,000 difference. One's $1,000 more, $1,000 less. $1,000 more will start tomorrow. Done. So I knew there was a cheaper option. There's always a cheaper option. But I knew that the trade-off was like a no-brainer to me. And I actually don't think like that piece of it, AI is not great at understanding the nuance of
human behavior.
Relationship
human
too, it sounds like.
it's the decision-making guidelines. I don't think we even recognize the decision-making guidelines that we have on a day-to-day basis, but you feel it, you know it, you experience it. Yeah. And that is the kind of skill that actually leans more into like the sales side of it, because you need to understand the other person's decision-making guidelines.
But something that you just said about, piggybacking on the prompt of replacing marketers, and you said insurance. Earlier in the conversation, we talked about ChatGPT or these AI tools. It can make a mistake, and like, who do you go to when it makes a mistake?
Think about this, okay? You go to ChatGPT or whatever to build the funnel out. She's so proud of herself. Then something breaks and you go back to ChatGPT and it gives you another wrong answer and it gets worse. And then she goes back to ChatGPT and it gives her an even worse answer. Who's she going to call? My good guy, Andy. Hey, man, hope the price hasn't gone up on that $5,000 funnel. And I don't know anything about compliance. I need support. I don't know how to, it's not making sales. Help me, Andy. Right?
But I look at, there's two sides to that too. And maybe back to Tim's point, for the percentage of things that AI does wrong, there are a lot of things that AI is doing right.
Right.
And there's this mix of this, right? So because we're looking at it, and my CMO he's going to be here this week, and he just got a hold of vibe coding. He's heard about it, never did anything with it, and all of a sudden he's like building out things that he thinks are going to be like massive. And he's like, look, I did in 4 days what would have taken me months and months and months. And, this thing is coming out, and he's super excited about it. And I look at it like, I think the reality is that when it comes to a agency owner, you can't leave AI out. Like you got to have AI as part of what you're doing. But there's still other skill sets, other things that you're going to bring to the table, that experience level that you're going to trust versus the $5, tax prep thing versus if I said, hey, I have one that's $500 and I got one that's $5. Which one are you going to choose? The levels that we're at right now, most of you go, I'd probably go with the $5 one may be better, but in their mind, they think it's, that there's more value to it.
Well, and to Tim's point of insurance, when you were saying that, I was thinking, is he talking about insurance? It's the certainty, it's the guarantee, it's the risk reversal behind it. The $500 one, I was on a call with somebody, and I was coaching him, like, the reason why you need to increase your price isn't out of greed. Is because you need to insulate your offer. You might literally have to carry insurance for when it goes wrong. Like you have to because they are buying that certainty, they are buying that insurance of going to you, so they have something to do when it goes wrong, and then there's a cost associated with that. And so I think, Andy, to the prompt, I think it's, people said it's like AI is not going to replace you. Somebody using AI is going to replace you because as a vehicle, it's faster, but that also means it's more dangerous. And and maybe it's so fast. It's not just like I was going horse to car. It might be like horse to like race car, like Formula One. And you're like, even if you have a driver's license, you shouldn't just hop onto a Formula One and punch it on the pedal because you're gonna hurt yourself and hurt someone else around you. And that's a lot of business owners. They don't know it yet, but it's to the degree of the consequence. I think there was another public company. They had some media because they were running all of their decisions. They were giving all their numbers to AI and saying, like, give us analysis.
And it hallucinated all of it.
It was hallucinating everything. So they kept on running, and it wasn't until like the quarterly shareholder meeting when they come in there, and it's like literally the banks, like, it didn't reconcile. And they're like, we're crushing it. It's getting better month over month. And they're like, our runway is like 4 weeks, and they're like,
we're gonna be.
We were just giving the numbers. We were giving the numbers to AI, and AI's like, you're crushing it. Campaigns are going good. Marketings are solid. More cash than ever. And it was like bank account, not a reality.
Did you identify what LLM they used?
Yeah. It was ChatGPT. No, I know.
Exactly.
That's a small piece. Everyone's like, we knock on ChatGPT.
Like, oh shit! Like,
you just need to try Claude. It's Anthropic.
No, Claude wouldn't do that to us, man. Not me. No, Claude ain't gonna do that to me, man. Come on, man. Come on. It must have been ChatGPT. It must have been ChatGPT. Did you see the post that was like, when I come home, like that cheater, like the post? I wish I saved it. Coming home after using Claude all this time, coming back to ChatGPT, and it's like the post like, welcome home, cheater. Have you been using Claude? Yeah. Have you been using Claude?
No.
No? Have you?
Yes.
Yes? Have you been using Claude?
Yes.
Claude?
Mm-hmm.
Claude?
Yep.
Okay.
Love it over Manus.
Love it over Manus?
Really?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. I am not enjoying Manus. And I'm
Caitlyn!
What?
I'm not enjoying Manus. At all. I don't know why I'm not, and I feel like it's not
Caitlyn
putting
doesn't like
out
to
well
use the
for me.
microphone.
I don't know. I have a relationship with Manus like I do this microphone. Okay. Yeah.
This isn't
Can
this
I-
isn't high level, but why?
Why?
Why do you
what?
not like Manus?
I felt like it ate up tokens like
Okay,
crazy.
you just don't like to spend.
Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm like
yeah.
the fly private. Like I love Manus. Like
love
it
it.
gives me it's like spend and do it. Just keep spending.
Lovable gives me that hit that I need.
Okay.
And
yeah.
also,
Yeah, but how lovable, you still gotta spend.
no, I'm not.
Hey, if you got AI Studio, high levels Lovable clone right now is totally free.
Agree.
Word.
Yes.
Is it?
Yes.
It's totally free
Yes.
right now.
That's what I told you. We've
For
been
1 month.
experimenting.
The
past couple
high
days.
levels
said it's
Lovable
close.
clone
It's
is,
close to-
is
It's
free
getting close.
It's
free
getting close.
today.
Yeah.
How are you verifying? Are you using the same prompt?
I'm sending it to a team, bro. I don't do that.
But are they using the same prompt and the
I
output
was
is
doing it.
delivered?
I was doing it today. This is what I mean about like I'm on the plane. I'm not watching a show. I'm
Vibe coding.
not just vibe. I mean, for me, I have to put in the levels of mastery because people expect that, like, yeah, Matt put in 12 hours into the not stupid. It's amazing. No, it's
Yeah.
in the work in progress AI Studio Builder there. And yeah, I put it on par with love. I could tell you exactly what the little pieces. Like I've got some frustrations. It's actually easier to connect with external connectors than it is with high levels connectors right now.
Oh, is it
This is
really?
the irony, classic high level thing. It's like
Yeah.
it'll do forms, it'll do calendars, and it'll do any other database. You're
You know-
like, I want a dashboard for my high level data, please. That's like, no,
sorry.
that's coming.
But
okay, guys,
but,
that's coming.
but on a lovable level,
October.
it is totally free, no credits, and you can use it.
Yes.
I have to disagree with a lot of so
What's coming up
high
for
level
you? What's coming up for
dashboards.
you?
Okay, so what you are saying, Casey, and all these stuff, all these negative experiences we're having. Let's remember this is LLM, even vibe coding. You say the thing is pre-designed. Please the customer, always agree with them. Or this is lovable. This is the first phase of of AI. AI is like just AI is
Expanding,
nothing.
yeah.
And then you have the agentic AI. I'm telling you, it fixes. So it's reactive. You ask and answers. Agentic is proactive. Go fix yourself. Go wish. You open his brain, put in a skill, and he fixes himself. My agent, and then I'm not talking about the group AI. The group, like basically, devil people, they can say, hey, group of AI, go do market search, always come up with idea, products, and market it the best way possible. And then the general AI, if general AI is promising, they're expecting that's going to solve cancer, environment issues, all these issues, I think that those scenarios we are talking about, I think shame on the AI if it's solving cancer and all these hospital and the health problems and the environment cannot solve a copyright like customer thing. These hypothetical scenarios, just like, what about this? What about this? It's not gonna end. So my for the record, AI is gonna get just better. And I'm not super AI. We don't know what's gonna do. That's the end. My agent today, Genghis. I have 4 businesses, pretty active. It used to take me 3 days. Hey, CSM, how's it going on with your customers? Who's upset? Who's happy, right? I have my Golfpreneurs program, government contracting program. So basically, we register people with the government. I want to see how many people's like IRS validation, state registration, boom, boom, boom. I used to communicate with that. And then Stripe, and then refunds, and then, who is missing payments, just like a CEO's homework, right? And then team, we use Rome, right? I want to see what's going on. My AI agent, Genghis, on daily basis goes to my all companies, right? Let's say in Golfpreneurs, I have Tim's desk on my desk, literally. What is going on? Revenue today, tasks on me waiting, things I need to know, negative scenarios, positive scenarios, okay? And then goes to all high-level sub-accounts or our CRM sub-accounts to all the conversations and reads all the conversations and tells me this is upset, this is frustrated, this is ghosting us. It reads and decides. We have Firefly's integration, every phone call, every Zoom meeting, the script will go to the note. It reads the notes, okay, and puts it in front of me. It goes to our Slack channels, everything. Hey, 2 team members, they're saying something. that you wouldn't agree, or you may have an input in it, because it has all my 5-6 years recordings and everything. Goes to our Asana, whatever is on me, goes to my calendars, goes to my meetings. In team, we use Roam. It's a virtual office thing. It's the founder of Yext, his brother. Big shout out, amazing. I highly recommend everybody to use them. It listens to every team member. So if I'm spending $2,000-$3,000 on it a month, it's doing a job, literally a job of $10,000 payroll. I think, and this has been, I don't know, 6 weeks since I have an engineer. I have my engineers building it. I don't know. I think OpenClaw and Claude Code and stuff like that. I think if this is today and me, a teacher, achieved this, I think it's dangerous what can be done with this.
I appreciate you taking the defense of AI. I don't think any of us were attacking AI.
Yes, I don't agree it.
All right, so there's clearly good things.
You've convinced me.
Yeah,
now
right.
I'm on the side of AI.
Yeah,
I guess
AI
I'll
is
use
good.
it.
Give me the
Not
link, man.
Dino.
Send me the invoice, brother.
Get
Send
it
me.
Right.
if we do not agree with
But
that.
okay,
all right?
so back to the marketer question: am I going to get snuffed out by AI? Well, that's a personal decision. You can use it to build what Tim's done and have and supercharge your brain and your business and your ecosystem, right? So that's the for good side, and that's going to get you out of a lot of execution, right? Which is, to me, that's not bad. I hate execution. I am like, dude, I just care about performance, right? So the more in the weeds I am, the worse off I am. That's just my personal work style, right? But like, you know, if you're clipping videos for $800 a month and something comes out that does it better and there's no strategy involved, that's when you're in trouble. I think is the thing, right?
But even I see AI. Well, I suppose whose strategy is best, the human or the agent?
Yeah.
And that's where you're playing against.
Well, look, I've fought with my Claude agent about database reactivation, and I'm still right, Andy. So
No one
no one can database
Here's the-
reactivate better than me.
Here's the question: are agencies still valuable, or have they become? Are resellers still valuable, or have they become expensive middlemen?
They're still valuable
Yeah,
for all the
100%
reasons we've
still
described.
valuable, Yeah.
I still we've helped some folks who were high level approach them as affiliates like years ago to be like power affiliates because they had influence over an industry. And what they found was when they sent them straight to high level, they churned faster. And I was like, well, just use the ejection method as an affiliate, like put them into your account. Because it's actually easier for them to start as a sub account.
Yes.
Have some things that are like pre-set up and configured. It's even easier to onboard a sub account than it is like an agency level account. And it was like, and then once they're working, then send them into their own high level account there. So I'll say to folks, anybody who's asking that question, there's a question behind that question, which is why doesn't high level just cancel their affiliate program? Why?
Yeah.
There's an expensive middleman.
When you have resellers who are selling the platform, selling it for a premium, so AKA above $97, right? Now that's because high level chose that rate. Then you have usage marked up. You have these apps on top of the platform. Can't the customer just go directly to high level and use the platform themselves rather than using an agency?
Most can't. Most don't know tech.
No, they don't. And have you seen the amount of comments in the high-level Facebook group from struggling newbies who are just like, I don't know what to do. I'm stuck. It's like, back to Matt's point, if you run a business, like, unless this is profoundly like a giant leap, I don't think that you're going to be spending all day trying to learn this skill set. You just aren't. There's too many other things to cover as a business owner. So again, I think that for a lot of people who are new, when I was new, I thought that that businesses would only care about price. That was my preconceived notion, right? And it's actually the total opposite. Like what Matt said, it's like the more successful and the bigger the business, the quicker they need solutions. It's not like a money thing so much as it is a time thing, right? And so I know it's hard to conceive. I'm trying to think about like my 20-year-old self. Like I didn't know that when I was first starting out. But a lot of people, when they first start out, they approach very small businesses. And they're probably not even businesses. They're just side projects or side hustles that they're having as clients. So they're going, oh, well, the entire market must be like that. And it's like, no, you're working with the leftover, the pig scraps down at the very bottom of the pyramid. Like go one level up and you'll see, right? Because if you're working with an actual business, it's a fact. Every business has expenses. What do they spend it on? All the crap that they don't want to do or deal with. I don't know a single business owner who does payroll manually anymore. Not a single one, unless they have to for some reason. But that's like almost no one anymore, right? I don't see anybody trying to generate electricity themselves to keep the freaking lights on anymore. Like, I know it sounds ridiculous, but that's exactly what people are afraid of, and it's a non-starter thing for me. It's like, that is not how it actually works. And once you figure that out, you're going to be able to actually like come and provide real value to the marketplace. And it is speed. Money loves speed, right? That's the old adage. It's just like, it's always time. Like everything. So even when you were talking about the marketing stuff, I was like, I think time is more valuable than money to businesses. And that one is a far and away, it's like in a category of its own. It's the speed thing. So, okay, how do you get to speed? Well, usually like my new philosophy now that I've surpassed my monthly expenses and I have certainty is like, I want to hire, like I will fly to another city to have the best doctor operate on me. I regularly fly off continent to go get the best business coach at what he does for this particular thing I'm interested in doing, right? And it's not because I love, being on the flight that Gary was just on for, I don't know, God knows how many hours. I actually hate that. Like, I don't enjoy it. But I will do it because that's what gets me closer to my goal the fastest, right? And that's the game that everybody in business is playing. It's actually not necessarily about the money. It's about the speed at which you can get them closer to their goal. So, like, again, I just think it's like a broken mindset, and that's not how the entire ecosystem necessarily works. Does that make sense? It's like, I don't know. The thing that High Level has done incredibly well is they value speed over everything. I mean, like as far as values go, every time you go to the summit, what does it always say? It's the same slide since the very first summit, which is like, nobody will move faster than us. That's their first core value, right? And that's for a reason. It's not like, Sean is a brilliant guy. So are Robin and Vroom, but Sean has really started off that way. He's like, yeah, I'll just like code at night and be out there like helping, in the support group and, doing all these other things during the day or whatever. And I'll just, get it done. But he always spends time on the speed thing. It's like
shipping.
Yeah.
This is a fundamental misunderstanding of just business because people are uncomfortable with this idea of like, I'm just an expensive middleman. Like, so is every business owner ever. You think the restaurant owner is cooking all the food, right? Like at every level, they're middlemaning the employees. They've aggregated all of these things together to like create an end result. And I do think there is kind of a
so success is really just being a good middleman.
I think that's a really pessimistic perspective around it.
Yeah.
And I think this is, maybe it's fundamentally a little of like an underlying youthful capitalism is bad kind of mindset where it's like only owner-operator businesses are the ones that should exist. Like, I'll only buy vegetables from the farmer who like just dug in the soil with his hands and planted the seeds, and they were generational seeds that he'd had in his family for 200 years, right? And you realize it's such a small, limited way of like creating value. Like that actually leads to the kind of life decisions where you're like, I don't want to. No, it's going to come off as like judgment, but that's where you get to like this very individualistic version of it. Is like the most amount of value I can create is just in and of myself. And if anybody else creates value beyond themselves, it's unjust value. I obviously disagree with that, but like on the other side of it, it's like saying like, oh man, the family is this beautiful, amazing thing. Like I love empowering my kids and us as a family doing something together. Like I love our team, the things that we can accomplish and achieve together. And fundamentally, this wouldn't even be possible if just one of us tried to attack it. And then also it's like, it feels more fulfilling to do it together. But that aside, I think there's still, the question comes from this place of like very reductionistic look at business to be, the kind of comment you said there, I know not your perspective, but like that everything's just middlemaning. Like that's it. Agency is middlemaning. Business is middlemaning. Resellers are middlemaning. Like all of it's just middlemaning.
End users, if we're still on the high level, but there's still vibe coded apps and other things that you can middleman outside of high level. But end users are getting more educated out of this space. They're not even in this space. And they're becoming more in the know of, hey, I can get a text message from high level for 0.0079 cents. Why would I pay you a penny and a half for a text message.
Great. Go sign up. Call me when you're overspending on your account because you sent a Bible in your first text message. Like there's so many
And a bunch
things
of
around
leaks.
this.
Good
you
luck.
know?
You're a value.
Yeah.
You're a value bringer. I think that's the mindset that has to come here. You're not a middleman. You're a value bringer
That's
because
right.
they wouldn't even known about high level unless you introduce them. They may have heard it or seen something, but you're actually explaining it because in all reality, it's not like you can look at high level and go, boy, that's easy. I mean, there's a lot of complexity. That's why a lot of people in this room are in business because you're bringing value to somebody that they could not attain on their own.
That's right.
And it's just like us starting out in our business. So going back to the very first part of this conversation, we didn't know what we were doing. I could do it, but it's going to take me 80 hours a week inside of high level to accomplish what you could do in 4.
Like I would really love to know the amount of vibe coded apps and tools that have been built that are still sitting on the shelf versus ones that are being actually used. I would really love to know that because this entire conversation could probably be ended with just that data and just be like, dude, if no one's using it, who cares? Great, you built it, but it's sitting in the corner collecting dust. Awesome. Good. Thanks for improving the world, person.
Yeah. And this is why I don't think I could do a B2C business because I love business. And so B2B, it's like if that's your perspective of like you don't like business, you should not buy from me. Like you are not my customer.
Yeah.
It's like if you're a DIY enthusiast and you DIY everything, good on you. Like you're not my customer. You know what I mean? It's like, and I feel no shame in that. And so someone calling out like I could do it cheaper doing it myself, and you're like, dude, I didn't think that was a secret.
Yeah.
Like, bro, I was not gatekeeping. There is always a cheaper way of doing it yourself.
Yeah, and in the end, it becomes exceptionally expensive because your time is gone.
Well, I mean, that's the journey, right? It's like I'm like he said, DIY enthusiast. All right, is MRR dead, or do you identify your lifetime value, sell that up front plus a margin on top?
Wait, time out. Are we in dystopia right now? Because everything's like so cynical. Like the questions are just like.
What is cynical?
Huh?
What is cynical? Define it.
Read the question again.
Black
please.
or white?
Is MRR dead? Yeah, because some people on here are pussyfooting.
What? MRR is clearly not dead. You want to see my account?
Is MRR dead? Is MRR dead, or identify your lifetime value, sell that up front plus a margin on top?
You can do it either way, of course. But so here's the thing with pricing and packaging is it's always a good idea to be able to bundle and unbundle your offers. So instead of thinking is one good and one bad, it's like, no, I'm going to offer both when the time is appropriate for a very specific reason. That's a better way to think about that scenario, right? So MRR is a tricky thing. Like I have a love-hate relationship with the yearly holiday sale that High Level does because my churn's like so low. I'm like, I'm actually taking a pay cut because they're doing a pay in full and the customer's getting a discount on the yearly package. Like, again, I still have people who signed up at that very first workshop who are still on High Level. It's like 7.5 years, I think, at this rate. So it's like.
Rob's actually anti-discount.
I hate discounting.
It's anti-Christmas.
I am.
He also doesn't like puppies.
I'm also a very handsome grandfather to many. No, I'm kidding.
Listen,
She was calling me abuelito.
he was the
Costa Rica.
abuelito in Costa Rica.
I was like, oh, we've been walking for half a block.
Where do you
I need a
stand?
rest.
Where do you stand, Gary? Is MRR dead, or identify your lifetime value, sell that up front plus a margin on top?
Well, I don't think it's dead. Again, like Rob said, you look at our accounts. I mean, it just depends on what you're providing. If you're continuing to provide value, then they'll continue to get that service. If you're not providing value, they're not going to get that.
There's something I had a podcast with Tim earlier, and one of the things he said, monthly recurring revenue, which I'm probably going to talk about this week at the JHL Assembly. It's like monthly recurring revenue equals monthly recurring login, monthly recurring value, monthly recurring usage, and getting them to log in every month, use every month. You ultimately create a lifestyle business.
Hearing, you charge them monthly, but you don't hear them monthly.
Yeah. So like,
and I would say that's probably been one of my biggest mistakes.
Well, and there's nothing wrong with giving folks a discount for future commitments, but that comes with the caveat that, okay, I'm basically becoming a utility company for this person, right? So where a lot of people get confused is they go, all right, well, like my let's call it like a funnel builder service is $1,000 a month, and the person pays up front, so you're getting a discount, so you have to count for your margin loss there. And if I have any scope creep at all, or this customer asks for a refund, that money still has to be sitting there. Does that make sense? So like if somebody even went to HighLevel and said, hey, I paid for a yearly plan. I don't know what HighLevel's policy is, but I'm sure they'd say, well, we can prorate you a refund, but you use services
up to this date.
Yes. So this is, without context, this could be a potentially dangerous question. I think overthinking it is a mistake. I think if you bundle and unbundle your stuff the right way, and it's clear, you have to, this is where the skill comes in, is if you're really clear about your offer and what they're getting, it's not typically an issue.
But there's agencies at a level where, for example, they run enough people through their campaign to identify lifetime value is $5,000.
Right.
Well,
Is that because they had monthly recurring revenue?
They had monthly recurring revenue in it.
So they couldn't even calculate their lifetime value unless they had started with a recurring monthly plan?
Right. They started with a recurring monthly plan. They have monthly recurring revenue. And then from there, they identify their lifetime value is $5,000. And then they say, hey, instead of charging monthly recurring revenue, I'm going to go ahead and charge $5,500. In that scenario, I make my lifetime value plus more.
This is not how you calculate CLTV.
Well, no. I mean, I don't know if he's saying how to calculate that, but presuming he does
I'm not,
but those people, yeah.
Well, so this is the interesting thing is, if you only want to be 10% better, then that's absolutely the correct thing to do. If you want to be 50% work, take your lifetime value, cut it in half, and sell only that. You're literally deciding your ceiling right there. You're like, so
Just do that.
it's
You're
not
50% of the work.
it's not right or wrong. It's literally that is what it is. So you're saying like, is it better to say, take what I've been able to achieve right now, add 10% to that, and be like, that's the best I'm gonna be. And you're like, I guess, but like I would have outperformed myself time and time again. Like, so what I would have thought is like, you know, if I went back 5 years ago, like, here's what I made last year, I'm just gonna cap that at 10% more and nothing beyond that. I'd be really disappointed today. Like, so in the moment, it's really just recognize. I think what you're getting at is, what do you do? How do you break through a threshold of lifetime value? And I think that's like to Tim's answer is obsess over the things that make the value an afterthought. Like we're measuring lifetime value from what you receive, but I think to Tim's point, that is an overflow of the value they receive. And so if you're like, I'm not receiving more value, I should stop selling monthly, I should just only go 10% more, there's probably other ways to make sure they're receiving more value, and then your lifetime value is going to follow there.
You have a stance?
I
said, do you have a stance? I'm going to go into the next question. I just want to make sure you have a stance.
But I also have something I want to mention while I have both of you guys here. Regarding CLTV, lifetime value, that's basically in that case, when I used to actively run my agency, and I used to get like car dealerships or restaurants and stuff, I don't remember the software, but it's a very complicated mathematic calculator. It's a system. So CLTV is not like, what is your CLTV for a restaurant client or like a restaurant customer? Oh, this one. No, it's a fact in this city. So in Fort Bragg area where I live, I remember that was so funny thing for me. So CLTV for a car dealer customer was like $3,200. Yeah, $3,200. And a CLTV for a customer going to a restaurant, like a new customer, was $5,200. So when I used to ask, like, what is CLTV for your customer? They used to say, if they pay this, like this mindset, if they pay $20 and 10% $10 tip, $30. It's not. So the database, when they go to credit cards, same person, how many times to goes to the same restaurant, okay? And when they go, you know, like it's the same mentality with the menu. You go to the same restaurant, they have 40 items, you order the same thing. And so many times you take your family and kids and friends with you, and they go there too. So this is the calculation, and the average lifetime for a resident in Fort Bragg was 5 years, right? So, I don't know how many years, 8 years. This was this much in 5 years. this much you receive from a new customer acquired to a restaurant. So CLTV is not something like to me and to you to know like how much a doctor as a client will be as a CLTV. So this is my point.
I think Andy was talking. I get you went quick, but that was he was. I think the example was, let's say they pay $500 a month, and on average they stay 10 months. That's where he's getting the $5,000. I don't think you were saying they pay me $5,000 and that's their lifetime value.
No, but even that's not how you calculate it.
Well,
because
I understand. If anybody wants to know, you can calculate segments of LTV, which is what you're getting at, or you can take your whole customer base, take your total revenue divided by the number of customers you've ever had. That is your customer lifetime value.
But then you want to drill down in cohorts, segments, customer personas by the customer type, where this type of customer, my CLTV is this much versus this type of customer is completely different.
Who's never brought a family member or anybody else to the business ever, has only spent his own money because he's a single guy who never goes on dates.
Different CLTV,
You know what I mean?
If you're married men, if a restaurant owner can get that data, married men has a different CLTV than a single man.
But as my point was, CLTV the standard out there or your case? If it's your case or that guy's case, whoever is asking, as Matt said, okay, you want to be 50%, okay, type it and then lower your price 10%. So if it's based on my experience, okay, if the standard lifetime value for a client, let's say 10,000, and in your case it's 5,000, guess what? You didn't maximize the potential of, you didn't do a good job to keep them, right? So maybe this topic will be, so branched. So you asked me if I have something to mention, right? Can I check? Do you guys have anything for that topic?
I'll add one other thing.
Go ahead.
Starbucks lifetime value is $15,000. Coffee shop on average is $500. So this is maybe what you're getting at. Is you would say coffee shops could have the potential lifetime value of $15,000 because Starbucks has done it. But I think Andy's getting at, if I'm a local shop and it's like, I know, for me, it's $500. Should I just sell them one coffee for $550, or should I sell them this is a magic cup with unlimited refills for $550? And
that's probably where they come up with those ideas.
And that's and I think lifetime value is more of a signal than like it informs decisions you should make. But
Can I add maybe a question that's maybe a little better to ask for most agency owners? I think a great question for an agency owner to ask is how can I increase my customer lifetime value? Because by far the biggest problem with agencies is churn. It's like
so it's fair to say then you make decisions based off lifetime value.
No, not always. Like I would spend much more time figuring out how to increase the LTV than I'm sitting there staring at the number trying to massage my offer to polish the turd.
But that's you making a decision based off lifetime value. If you're making this, if you have the lifetime value data, then now you're making a new decision.
Okay, let's say it's less than 2 months. That's the average agency retainer is less than 2 months. We know that. That's like a fact out there, right? That accounts for the blend, the average. Yeah. So it's like if you have one 12-month client, and any agency owner probably will attest to this in real world experience, like for every one that you have that's 12 months, that means you have like 10 that stayed for 1 month. Okay. So, but this often boils
or ask for a refund.
Or that, or chargebacks or whatever. Disputes. But like, so then you go, okay, well, this is clearly broken. How do I fix it? There's a gigantic leap between saying, I don't know how to fix that, and saying, how can I make clients quitting as painful as possible? That's a much better question. And I'll just shortcut to the answer, guys. The easiest way is to become the utility bill. I made a joke earlier about generating your own electricity, right? Like GoHighLevel has worked really hard to become so that you can become the utility bill, right? So there's a story behind all this, how I learned this in the real world when I sold my second agency, but it is incredibly hard to quit. Like WordPress hosting is a great example. Boringest business on the planet probably, right? But these companies have such low churn because it's so dang painful to move a website. Like as service providers, we all hate it, I'm pretty sure. Even more painful for people who aren't in our industry. But like if the activity that's leading to tangible results is happening on the platform, it's very, very hard for them to go, you know what? I'm just going to migrate everything over to HubSpot tomorrow. Right? Like everyone's laughing and scoffing because it's the biggest pain in the ass on the freaking planet, right? And it's incredibly expensive, and there's always loss, and there's always like efficiency losses and all kinds of other things. But, you know, I think agency owners are just in this mindset, hey, I'm providing this service, but the goodness, in other words, the results or the activities that lead to results are on someone else's platform. With HighLevel, you have the opportunity to become the platform or version of it. Mixed with your IP, like we've kind of touched on this several times, but the missing component is just you. People will buy from you because they like Andy. People will buy from Tim because he's Tim, and on down the line, right? It took me forever to figure this out. I'm like, if I'm offering a lot of what else is out there, why would someone buy from me? And the short answer is because they like me or they relate to me in some way, right?
The right time.
Yeah, and the same thing for everybody on the planet. It's like, I don't care if you're into like whatever crazy stuff out there. There's someone out there who wants to buy from you because you're that way, right?
I'm going to answer this question because
Yeah.
we're tight on time.
Sure.
Last question, and then we're going to go to questions in the chat. Is the industry rewarding loud marketers more than good operators?
I'm going to have to take a restroom break. I'll be back. Good?
Is the industry
Cool.
rewarding loud marketers more than good operators?
It always has.
Does for
So-
everything.
Yep.
You're saying yes.
Yeah. Best product doesn't always win. It's the loudest in the market, right?
Agreed.
They're not mutually exclusive. However, if you vibe coded the most amazing thing and it is sitting there undeployed, you're losing.
Yeah.
We see this every day. We don't want to mention names. Just be loud.
Yeah.
With content, with everything, with your messages, with your channels.
And see it as more responsibility if you are good. So if you see that, and I think some people do this, is they think, I'm better, they're just louder. Well, then be loud.
Yeah.
It is irresponsible and kind of like you don't care enough about your customer to be louder is really what it gets down to. So if you see that and you feel that and you think you're frustrated by that, it is because you don't care enough about your customer.
This question, we're going to move on to the next question. This question comes from the audience in live. So now we're going to go, we have a ton of questions here, and we're going to try to go through it as fast as possible. If you're loving this content where you're seeing some of us on here debate, ask raunchy questions, bring up things that are deep in our minds. If you're loving this content, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you're loving this content so far. We're going to go to Kim in the OC. Her question is, for those of us who know the platform, this is HighLevel. For those of us who know the platform pretty well, but haven't cracked consistent sales yet, what's the biggest mistake beginners make when trying to sell GoHighLevel?
Trying to sell anything but a database reactivation.
And
Next
we'll go
question.
through the
Rapid fire. You said rapid fire. I think.
Yeah, it is rapid fire because we don't have a lot of time.
That's
So what's your answer to that?
Learning the features more than retention.
You've got to pick one thing, whether it is database reactivation, whatever it is, one thing, do that. Don't try and sell everything.
That's good advice.
Yeah, and drill it down to one problem. Solve one problem.
Solve one problem. All right, thank you. That's Kim. Himi, I'm going to try to see your question, and if not, we're going to move on. If you were starting a GoHighLevel agency today in Dubai with 0 clients, what would be your first 3 moves to get to 10K a month? Thank you. That's their question.
You said Dubai?
I don't think the Dubai part matters, Himi. But if you were starting a GoHighLevel agency today with 0 clients, what would be your first 3 moves to get to 10K? I'll just ask the group the first 2 answers.
Rob, you just want to say yours.
I would
again?
sell database reactivation.
Sell
For 10K.
database.
For 10K.
Sell one data
All right, there you go. There you go, Himi. Sell database
For
reactivation.
monthly recurring
and
revenue.
I would
For
sell it to
10K.
a US based customer. You can sell from anywhere to the US. It's just it's so much easier.
Olu, you were asking a very specific technical question. How are you exposing GoHighLevel data to Claude via custom MCP? You are asking a very specific question. I don't think this is going to be the forum for it. That's a really great question. I think great for technical support. All right, let's go to the next question. This is from Steven Rivera. Should we sell it at expos and conventions to get us more customers and keep them sticky? I think you brought up expos earlier today. Yeah. Should we sell at expos? I think any question after should we sell, like the answer is like yes. Sell.
I mean, go everywhere that you can. Like it's the loud thing, right? If you are quiet, nobody buys. If you don't have an offer, nobody's going to buy. So go out to as many things as you can, as often as you can, and sell.
And charge them a setup fee so they're sticky. They're
And
gonna
charge
stay
them
with
a
you.
setup
Some
fee.
sort of setup fee.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Austin Armstrong from AI Marketing World says, "Let's go, fellas."
What up, Austin?
1196 worldwide says, "Y'all doing this for the people is cool as fuck."
Thanks for organizing it,
Muchas
Andy.
gracias.
Steven Rivera says it's all about the money. So if you have any questions, be sure to ask in the chat. Roger's question is, who's using OpenClaw or building personal assistants? Definitely Tim, without a shadow of a doubt. Tim is. Now, as we wrap up on today's episode, today's the first time we're doing this roundtable experience. We got Casey. Where are you flying from, Casey?
Came from
Ohio. Matt from California. Gary from Down Under.
Sunshine Coast, Australia.
Australia in the building.
El Salvador.
El Salvador.
North Carolina.
Alabama to bring this content to you. As we wrap up here, did you find value in this? What was your thoughts on this roundtable?
Yeah, I enjoyed hearing everyone's perspective, and it made me, I actually was taking a few notes for myself on my phone. I don't know if you all got that. So yes, very valuable.
Yes, of course. And just regarding creating content, and this will endorse Rob's point in selling. Like, you don't know who will like you, who will resonate with you. These two gentlemen, I know you guys for so long, right? Like 4 or 5 years. I remember I was like very early customer. I was like, oh, this is amazing. You know, HL Pro 2. I was crying because my English was bad. Anyways, that's another story to tell you. But creating content, I think our generation, I'm sorry, like I'm not saying you guys old or I am old, but I think we kind of like shy, or like we say, oh, I'm above, you know, content or camera. I like what he did. And I encourage anybody to, like, imagine this, how much information I got from this meeting, even with the watcher, right? You don't know who will resonate with you. So from all the content that you been, you know, putting out there, I'll tell you one content. And this. So till today, one time a content came across to me. You were saying, I don't know, my goal or something. I want to be, I still remember, muscular, like jacked grandpa. And it's very, very, very deep. And I don't want to be someone that my kids doesn't want to hang out with me around, or like enjoy hanging out.
I want to raise kind and confident kids who want to spend time with me when they no longer have to.
Yeah. Oh, you see how nice I said it? Okay. See, imagine like that made me butterfly effect, right? You have no idea how much, like, you just said it, right? I don't know. This is your thing. The algorithm brought me. And this guy here, out of all his webinars and stuff, because sometimes we take friends for granted, you know, oh man, I know him. Why should I watch? You know, like next. I know what he does. No, listen. One time you were dieting or something. Yeah, this is maybe the most stupid content of yours, but resonated with me. Till today, I remember. He said, I've been doing keto and eating this bacon egg bites, and I thought it's healthy. And your coach told you like how bad it is. And since then, I always like want to order. I said, oh, Andy, okay.
Andy's coach.
Yeah. Right? And then that made me more like watch his webinars and all the crazy stuff. So you have no idea what part of it to use the most stupid content maybe. Or in yours, like everybody knows you with all that customer support, HL Pro Tools, right? You would never ever imagine a family content or a conversation would resonate someone to look up to you as a father. So please, everybody, create content. Yeah, let's know more about you. Yes. I'm sure these individuals, I mean, this guy, this is the second time I'm hanging out in Australia. We had a walk. I was like, this is so, sometimes people's first impression doesn't tell you that, right? So I learned a lot from you, and today as well. So big respect.
Austin Armstrong says, where in North Carolina are you? I'm in Durham.
I'm in Cary, 30 minutes away from you.
Cary, North Carolina. Renzo Buckingham says, Matt. Steven Rivera says, goal 50 to 100 clients. Martina says, got this whole thing. Sell louder, and create a setup fee for stickiness.
Perfect.
That's from Martina. Casey, your perspective on today's roundtable, first roundtable.
I love learning the perspective of you guys, because I've seen some of you from afar for a long time. I've got to know some of you better, even over the last few months, and being in Costa Rica with a few of you. but just having learning from you in this type of an environment where we get to have that deeper conversation for a couple hours has been just fantastic. And to see the knowledge levels, and there's things I want to go back and watch this myself again, just to process some of the things that were here, because just hugely valuable. Thank you, guys.
Matt and Gary, what were your thoughts on coming here together?
I got to go sell a database reactivation.
For 10K.
For 10K to one customer.
Oh my gosh. No, this is great. I think one of the things that stood out to me is when you're starting, a lot of the questions, Rob had the point about self-awareness is key. And it's hard. You don't know it until you start to do it. But action creates clarity. And the negative thoughts, the fears, the doubts, all of that, all of us go through it. It doesn't go away. It's always there. And it's just maybe a little bit helpful to recognize that that's a pre-programmed lie. I don't know if it's just like the brokenness of how we grow up. We all I don't know what the stat is, but like the majority of our thoughts are negative. And this is why it's so hard to market positively, because we're quick to believe the lie. And so those things like agencies are dead, SaaS resellers, like what's behind that is I hear people saying
Scarcity.
It's scarcity. It's hopelessness. It's like, I'm not going to succeed. And it's the old adage, whether you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're right. And I guess what I'd offer to anybody starting out there is like, I was there. Like I literally went through it so many times. I started business in 2012. And so for many folks, it was like, man, overnight just popped off as like 10 years in the making. 10 years
10-year overnight
of
success.
like my wife would go to bed and I was up like till 3 a.m. because actually there's one guy who's been with the team literally for like more than a decade, and he's in India, right? It's like one of the first guys. And like Manish, I love him. But like it was just me and Manish, back in 2012, 2013. Yeah. And think about that. I couldn't afford to pay for someone who could work my daylight hours. I was working their daylight hours.
All of us.
And so
Doing whatever it takes.
Literally whatever it takes. Like I'm working side by side.
That was your 80 hours.
Yeah, that was like the season, the 80 hours. But like I understand that feeling, that doubt, that fear. It doesn't actually go away. I think you put in enough reps that your track record starts to kind of like drown out the fear and the negativity and the doubt. Like I'd still walk up, it's like people talk about imposter syndrome. It's like you can still have that. And it's like, it doesn't matter how big the bank account is, how many customers you have. You still like say, well, there's someone else who does more or bigger or beyond that. And so I guess that's what stood out to me, which is the line of questioning. And my encouragement to anybody is at least you got one person, and it's the same way. I'm sure everybody in the table is the same way. It's like, we are rooting for you. Business is not a zero-sum game. Someone does not need to lose for you to win. There are so many businesses out there that are starving for even just your efforts. Even if you don't feel good enough, just your efforts would be such a positive thing for their business. And so just letting you know, you got a table of 7 people here rooting for you.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Gary, your perspective on the round table today and coming out here and being part of
The
this.
table wasn't rounded. That's the word.
Okay.
Rectangle.
I feel
Great catch. Great
I
catch.
was just like doing this.
I think I listened a lot today because I feel like my brain's about 5 minutes behind the conversation from my jet lag. But what I heard from everybody here is that everybody's gone through a similar journey of just like, there is a lot of effort to get off the ground.
Yeah.
It's the time you have to put in, the learning the new skills, and you just have to do that to get started, and then just keep going and chip stuff out, get it out, and don't be afraid of what people think as well. And I think back to like when I started the journey with My CRM Sim, when we started doing this, it's like I started doing video and content, and it wasn't very good. Some of it probably isn't still very good now, but I started doing it, and I was just putting it out, and it was going in our Facebook group. And then someone started talking to me about it, said, hey, do you ever put this on your personal Facebook page? I was like, oh, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want people to see me doing that.
Right.
You went, you will. And he's right, and now I do, and like, loads of my stuff goes on there, because at first I was kind of a bit, not embarrassed, I think that's the right word, but like worried what my friends think, what will people judge me on, what will they think about what I'm doing. And now it just all goes on there. And I've actually got like a really good friend of mine who I just reconnected with from about 20 years ago in England, who came over to see me, and he sees all my stuff and he gives me so much shit all the time. It's really funny. And I just don't care anymore. I'm just like, yeah, whatever, mate. That's what I do, and that's paying my bills. So that's great.
Yes.
So I'd say, look, you gotta, if they're listening and they're working hard, then good. Work hard, because it's hard to get something off the ground. Ship, get something out there, and just don't be afraid to put it out there. Like, go and find
Be
your
loud.
customers need to see it anyway. If you believe you've got something good, put it out there, because your customers need it.
Like it. And did you share?
I didn't,
Right.
but I'll make sure I'm really close to this, okay?
Oh, you're too
Everybody
close.
listen
Right now,
up.
you're
We're
right.
going to do
You're
some
too close.
ASMR right now.
All right, go. Yeah.
We're going to do some ASMR. So a couple things, if you're watching this and you're trying to figure it out with GHL, if you came from a different background, let's say you were a professional power washer for a bunch of years, go start creating some kick-ass power washing templates and go sell to power washing companies. If you know a bunch about something else, use that knowledge, because a lot of you are running around trying to figure out what you're going to sell with high level. The thing is that a bunch of people watching this have zones of genius that have nothing to do with high level. Go regurgitate, go throw up all of that genius and knowledge into a template and sell the shit out of it.
Yep.
Because then when they come to you and ask you about it, you may not know all about tech. That's fine. Hire high-level Pro Tools. Hire a Progreda. You know what I'm saying? Go and get the tech support. But you can support and consult and then teach somebody else, or teach your agentic bot how to consult and about dump all your knowledge, your 25 years of power washing into the bot, have them do it, and now you have a kick-ass power washing snapshot to go sell. So that, I think a lot of people don't know what to sell. They're like, oh, seeing all of us make all this money online, right? And it's obvious we're doing cool stuff, but how are they going to do it? So if you're watching this wondering, well, what am I going to sell with high level? I'm already convinced high level's great. Okay, well, what do you know shit about? Come up with 3 things you know a bunch about. What could you talk about for 2 hours straight that we might find boring, but you're having a blast talking about? Go sell that. That's what you go sell.
Be excited.
Amen.
Like, I think that's the biggest thing. Enthusiasm will trump your knowledge every day, because if somebody thinks that you're excited about what you have to offer, then they want to be a part of that excitement. Just like there's a lot of negativity that came up in some of these questions. And if you sit there, it's like, well, I'm sucking too right now. Like, you can feel that way and you get down. But when somebody comes in, and I've noticed that myself, I would sell something and then I would leave to like go celebrate instead of like going to the next one, because the next sale was going to come easy. I would close 2 of the next 3 easy because I was excited. But if I would leave and come back in, I'd be back down again.
That's the letdown of that dopamine, man. You got to keep it going for
Every
a bit
time.
if you're gonna, or you learn to just fully manage it. Never get too excited about anything, Then you stay consistent. Be innocently excited, but never let your chemicals in your body get crazy excited, because you know what? You make unsound decisions when that happens.
Sure.
Be excited like a child, not like the chemicals spike up cortisol excited. You
My
know what
consistent state is excited like a child making
Yes.
bad decisions. So I don't know how to bring it down. So.
I've had to learn. That's something I had to learn, especially as a woman, and I'm not saying all women are emotional. I'm not saying that either, but I'm an emotional being. I'm a feminine person, right? And so I've learned that get excited with childlike wonder, but don't get excited where you're banking on things. And then if it doesn't go through, it's hurting you.
There you go.
You know?
Yep.
Yeah.
Amen.
Tim and Rob, did you guys share your feedback?
I think I did.
The only thing I'll just add, besides my totally vanilla comment earlier, was I think it's a good goal, like, a lot of good advice. And the way that I found that worked best for me to approach that was not trying to swallow the whole elephant all in one bite. I really subscribe to this get 1% better every day thing. And so especially if you've got food on the table already, it's it's okay to focus, shift your focus from, oh, the need is right now and it's over here and therefore I'm supposed to spin my wheels there constantly, to okay, so time, right? I was doing that for 8 hours a day. Now I've got 1 hour free. I'm going to focus on longer term things that start to compound starting today, right? So the 1% better thing is just it actually comes from athletic performance, I'm pretty sure. But instead of trying to hit your PR every single day in the gym, if you just try to get 1% better every day, you'll hit your PR usually faster than when you originally intended to. And that's just the way that we were designed, right? So to Caitlyn's point, I see a lot of people who try to take too much on too fast. And I don't know if that's fear or excitement or anxiety or what's driving that necessarily for people. But, once you can build a runway, like if you think about it, that's like in a quarter, you can get almost 100% better. That's an incredible growth rate. And so I think people need to like speed up to slow down sometimes. Like it's either they're frozen, it's typically one of two things. Folks are frozen and they're not taking meaningful action, or they're trying to take off like the head of the dragon on the first strike. And so those two things just have a really low success rate. So I think that the answer is, okay, if my business isn't growing as fast enough as I want it to, I got to break this down into smaller chunks. And usually you'll hit your goals faster no matter what stage you're at. So very good.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you have found this roundtable to be valuable, or in Tim's case, this rectangle table to be valuable, I hope that you found this to be valuable, because this intention is all about supporting you to grow your business and take your life to the next level. So that way you understand the plays that each of them are running, the mindset, the psychology, the systems and the processes that they're using inside of their business. Be sure to like this video, comment, let us know if you want us to do another version of this or continue this and move forward. And be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you on the next episode. Bye for now, everyone. Bye for now.